All right, welcome back to the Millionth show. My name is James. I'm joined once again by my brother Henry. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I was very interested to see this film because I'd heard a little bit about it beforehand, and in my mind, I got it mixed up with Batman and Robin quite a lot since
Yeah.
they're both not too well fondly looked after.
No, I know. I mean, I'd gone through 23 years of my life successfully avoiding these films. This one and Batman and Robin and a couple others we'll end up having to review. Well, I've tricked myself into watching these, but I don't know. Obviously, this is the first time you and me had watched it. I'd never seen it before, and nor had you, right?
No,
Um, So yeah, same here. I mean, going into it, I really hate watching film with prejudice, and I'm having lots of prejudice going to these films. I try to avoid knowing anything about a film before I actually watch it, and I don't even want to know if it's a good film or not. Generally speaking, I just need to know one or two little things that make me want to watch it, even if it's just a genre or something or one actor that's in it. That's enough for me to go and check it out. But on this occasion, man, like all I heard is people shitting all over this film. Like I say, I avoided it for so long, and now here we are. We're going to talk about it for a little bit. So,
yeah.
how did you find it? You had to watch it across three different sittings, right?
Well, yeah, partially because I was tired, but to be honest, I had literally almost zero clue about what was in this film apart from Val Kilmer as Batman and Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Mhm.
Um, and I do have to say I did find some enjoyment in it, like a little bit. There are
Mm.
some things I liked in this film, but yeah, I can definitely see why it still has the reputation it has today. Because this is a film that I never want to return to personally.
Yeah, definitely. I think it had, like you say, it had some flavors of like something with really big potential. And I think you just mentioned two of them there, Jim Carrey and Val Kilmer. I thought both of them were like actually surprisingly good. I thought they would have worked in a better film with better writing and plot, etc. However, pretty much everything else about this film was terrible. Um, and for me, it's just yeah. I like Val Kilmer. I thought his Batman was decent. Riddler as well brought. I mean, Jim Carrey brought like this unique sort of element to the Riddler, which I'm glad we got to see. But again, yeah, everything else just fell apart around them, and you know, it was bad, but it had some moments. It wasn't. I can't say it was a boring film though, or a film like it was unwatchable. Like I didn't feel it was 2 hours long, which at the beginning I was like, shit, man, this is gonna be long. But then I was like, well, actually, by the end of it, I didn't really feel those 2 hours. It was somewhat entertaining. If I was a bit younger, probably for like a young teenager or something, that would probably be quite an enjoyable film. I suppose that was their target audience. I don't know.
Yeah,
Although
well,
some of the jokes and references in there, I'm not sure about that. But you know, I suppose we'll just jump into the storyline then, and we'll go through everything as we go along. So obviously, we're opening with the opening credits, and first surprise for me with this film was Tim Burton produced it. I was like, what the fuck? Did
yeah,
you
I
like this?
saw that as well. I was like,
Yeah.
hang on a minute, Tim Burton was, and they asked him about this.
Yeah, he was directly involved in this film. He was a fucking producer. I was really surprised, man. Um,
Yeah,
I was
and
pleasantly surprised because then I was like, but I was confused as well because I thought, obviously, this is directed by Joel Schumacher, right? Everyone knows that.
hmm,
But I thought the whole point was to get rid of Tim Burton altogether and move in a bit of a more like a less dark direction, right? But
yeah,
then he's just producing it anyway, so I'm like, well, what was the point? You might as well have him director and then at least make a good film. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah. Well, to be fair to Josh Schumacher's credit, he did originally wants to direct like a slightly darker film about like Bruce Wayne sort of going more into his like questioning really what he was all for with his crusade against crime.
mhm.
Um, but Warner Bros. Like actually told him essentially that they wanted a lighter film, so that kind of got shot down quite quickly. But you do see elements of that in this sort of him questioning, whether
Yeah,
he's actually going to quit being Batman and so on, which I thought was interesting personally.
definitely, because it had like we say, it has some really like interesting elements that if you just you shaved off all the shit around it and you just focused in on that and made a film out of those kind of themes, you'd get a really interesting film. But anyway, we'll get to it because the next thing, the first 2 minutes of the film, I was really like, what the fuck, man? Like, I was like, this is worse than I expected because, I mean, you get Batman suiting up and you get like sort of the new bat suit and the new Batmobile. And then the first bit of fucking dialogue in the film is Alfred going, can I persuade you to take a sandwich, sir? And he goes,
Yeah, it's like it's turned into a parody. Yeah.
I'll get drive-through. Are you fucking
Like, this is
joking, man?
seriously the first line of Batman.
Yeah.
And to be fair, we do get the premiere of the famous bat nipples for Val Kilmer.
Oh man. You know, I didn't notice it at the beginning. I thought that was just George Clooney's Batman. I didn't think it was in this Batman. And I didn't notice it at the beginning, but then about 20 minutes in, there was some kind of close up and I went, those are bat nipples. Are you fucking serious? Like
You
I
didn't know
didn't
about
know.
that beforehand?
No. I knew that it
Okay,
was I
okay.
thought that was just in George Clooney's Batman though. I didn't know it was in
I
this
see.
one. Okay. So that was
Interesting costume
surprising.
choice.
And then basically, yeah, he drives off in this new Batmobile. I don't know. I mean, we might as well talk about it since we're here.
Yeah.
I actually quite like. All right, minus the bat nipples. I thought the new Batsuit was actually really good.
Yeah,
I
I quite liked it
I
personally.
thought the
But
the cowl especially was. I actually thought it was really strong. It was like well defined. I think Val Kilmer's face was a bit better. He had a better jawline and everything. So I think his chin and everything actually comes through the mask and looks pretty good wearing it. Um, Better than Michael Keaton's, I would say. He's good, just more defined jawline, better mask. I think more defined, and the suit itself, obviously, just looks like they just improved it a
yeah,
bit
it's
more
like it's been
from.
advancing throughout the years.
Yeah, this film
And
obviously came out in 1995, by the way, I should add, and so this is 2 years, sorry, 3 years after Batman Returns. So yeah, I mean, it's not a huge period of time. I mean, it's the same gap between Batman '89 and Batman Returns, obviously, but you know, they obviously refined it a bit. But one thing they didn't need to fucking refine was this Batmobile.
God,
Like,
yeah, what did they do to this thing when I saw it, man?
yeah, man. And I don't know, I'm a little bit torn about it because I kind of like it in a way, but it's just fucking stupid as well. It's like
It
you
looks like
got
a
this
Hot Wheels
like
car, man. That's what it looks like to me.
a Hot Wheels car, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It's just like that would be cool. It would be better if it didn't have all these shining lights on it. You can tell they're just trying to sell kids' toys with this one.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's pretty. Yeah,
I mean, it's got three fins on it. It's got two either side, like normal sort of bat fins or wings, whatever. And then it's got one down the middle. I think if you get rid of that and you get rid of all the lights and just make it black, it would look pretty good. But then you add all this shit onto it just to make it more like I don't know.
yeah,
I didn't really, especially coming off the back of such an incredible Batmobile in the last films.
yeah.
But
It's like, why would they have to build a new one? You know, he could just use the old one.
yeah, exactly. You don't have to pay that Batmobile to come back. You
Yeah,
know, it's
exactly.
not going to disagree with you on anything you don't like, Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
But yeah, obviously, as you said before, this film is clearly just interested about selling merchandise, action figures, all that shit. So I don't know. I don't even know if that was successful, but I'll tell you what was though. This fucking shocked me. Do you know this film? Okay, so you know how many Oscars that Batman '89 and Batman Returns were nominated for
they got
combined?
nominated for, was it 3 in total? Was it?
Yeah. How many Oscars? How many? Do you know this film got nominated for some Oscars? And guess how many?
I'm gonna guess 6.
No, no, not six.
Yeah, I was
Thank
gonna
God.
say
No, it got nominated for three Oscars as well. So
just on
this
its
film
own.
got as much Oscar recognition as the Batman as the Tim Burton films put together, which is a disgrace. I could not believe this was even nominated for any.
Yeah.
Maybe they felt bad about not giving them to Batman and Batman Returns, but they must
I don't
have
know.
got
This is a bad one to pick to,
this.
you know.
How did this get? That's a disgrace. At least Batman actually won an Oscar. The Oscar it was nominated for. Batman Returns only nominated to. This is nominated for three. I fucking
Yeah,
hell.
what were they? What were the ones that it was nominated for? Like, what could it have been?
Sound. I think I can't say
Sound
I
design,
don't want to quote, but
maybe.
yeah, sound. I think makeup again, which meh,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know.
I think they were still feeling guilty about not giving the Oscar to Jack Nicholson for makeup, man. I mean, not him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
whoever
the
did the
makeup
makeup
crew.
of Batman '89. Disgrace. And you know what? I finally found out who won the Oscar for best makeup that year instead of um whoever did Jack Nicholson's Joker. It was fucking Driving Miss Daisy. That won best makeup, and Batman didn't.
God.
So anyway, Batman Forever. Let's get back to it. So the next thing we get, speak of makeup, is we get Two-Face. And this is one of the elements of the film which I had high hopes for because I knew Tommy Lee Jones was in this film. He was a respected actor. I know him from The Fugitive, you know him from No Country for Old Men. This guy's like quite respected, Hollywood actor, and he's going to play Two-Face. And I'm like, okay, well, this could be interesting. And it's fucking terrible. He's like whispering all his lines. I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah, I'd have subtitles for him,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's just how have you reduced this guy, this respected Hollywood actor, into such like a unremarkable villain like character? Even he's not interesting. And Two Face is someone you have so much potential with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, personally, I'd have to say with this Two-Face, my first impressions of him from like the first scenes he's in is like he's kind of played as like a discount Joker almost because
yeah,
he's got two sides of his personality, insane and slightly more insane. It's not like there's like there's two halves to him like physically. You got the somewhat normal half, and then he's
mm,
like pink, crazy half or whatever. But it just feels like he's just like constantly insane the entire time. It's like they do play around a
yeah,
little bit with the two personalities thing, but it's more like he just says, "Yeah, we're gonna do this," rather than "I'm gonna do this." Um,
yeah.
it's not
I mean,
like you don't see two personalities really,
yeah, exactly. And he's just
unless it's real life.
he was just like a really ridiculous villain. I don't know. I was very disappointed with it. I really thought they were going to do. I mean, I thought Tommy Lee Jones. I don't know who to blame for this, the writing, etc. But I thought, it could have been a bit more serious. Do you know what I mean? Like Two Face is like, and even his origin story later on, they just shot. They're like, oh fuck, we forgot to explain how Two Face became Two Face. Let's just have Batman watching a TV clip and like someone throwing acid on his face in a courtroom, and he covers it in paper, and that's it. It's like, or whatever. It's like they put zero effort in. They put effort into his makeup and his HQ. Later on, we get to his set and everything, and that's cool. But in terms of his actual lines and his dialogue and what he does in the film, it's terrible. Um, and it just and the first 3 minutes of this film are just setting it up for just something you're gonna that just answers all of your fears going into it. But
Yeah.
anyway, so Two Face is basically robbing this bank, and he's whispering something to some guy there. And yeah, they do a little bit of clever camera angles where you can't see out, and then you do see it, and then it's the worst thing ever. That fucking makeup was, I don't know, man. I mean,
It's
maybe
all
we have
right,
been.
but
It's dated. Maybe I'm going to be a bit generous here and say maybe it's dated because this is '95, so I can't expect it to be like in fucking The Dark Knight, which is like fucking horrifyingly good Two-Face kind of makeup. I mean, it was CG, right? So,
yeah. Well,
but I'm sure they could have done something better than what they did with Tommy Lee Jones, man.
well,
It
no,
was
you
so
see
bad.
you see a lot of 90s CG in this, so yeah, maybe it's best that they
Oh
didn't.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know. Well, anyway, and the other thing about Tommy Lee Jones, I'm glad he got cast as it, but it's a shame because there was the guy in Batman who played Harvey Dent. I think he's called Billy D. Williams, right?
Yeah, he was originally going to be cast, I
Yeah,
think.
he was supposed to be Two-Face in this, and obviously this is meant to be the same universe, right? Supposedly,
Yeah,
okay.
at this point, it's very tenuous.
It's very loosely. I mean, I don't. I mean, that's just for the sake of continuation. You've got like what's happened here? Did Harvey Dent in this accident turn white as well? Like what happened there? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know, man. But the next, yeah. So anyway, Two Face is robbing this bank. In the meantime, we also see Gordon again, like the most memorable Gordon of all time.
come on, I
And
barely remember he was here.
yeah, and then we have this girl, this blonde. I can't remember what her name is even,
He
but
was Chase, Agent Chase.
Chase, yeah. And that is only good for the one line which the Riddler says later. It's like a worthy pursuit or something like that, isn't it? It's very
Yeah,
good. But other than that, man, what a terrible character in this film, man. Terrible, man. I don't know. So she's there. I don't know why she's there. I don't know what her. Yeah, she's like a doctor, psychologist. That's at every
Yeah,
crime
Sonya's
scene for some
obsessed with
reason.
Batman, you know.
Yeah, just the most poorly, lazily written character. Because you get Kim Basinger, who they did a decent job of, Vicky Vale. They like put her in the film. They gave her a relevant role, which you believed in, and it's kind of like okay. And then obviously in Batman Returns, you have Catwoman, who's very well done. I thought, I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, like generally considered a very good portrayal, an adequate, love interest for Batman as well as being as like, an antagonist as well. So you go from Vicky Vale and Catwoman, who are such carefully sort of created characters, to this. It's like, what was the point in this other than just for the sake of having a blonde damsel in distress like heroine? I don't know what was the point of this character. Hated it. The first bit of dialogue, and Batman swoops down, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you're a flying rodent," and he gets offended by that. Bats aren't rodents. So
I know. It's like from the beginning, it feels like they're just like sticking things together and hoping they work because
yeah,
it worked in the last one, you know.
yeah.
But they just don't know how like what made those previous roles so good.
That's the thing, because you got this weird dialogue in Batman Returns, like with Penguin and Catwoman and all this shit. But within its context, it worked. It didn't seem out of place because it was just that was the kind of atmosphere they created, right? But in this, it's just like this makes no sense, like because there's like 50 different themes going on all in the same film. So every scene is like a different. This is serious. This is a joke. This is like I don't know,
Yeah,
trying to explore
it feels
something,
like
but it's not. And then
disjointed
it's like
almost.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, because well, we'll get onto it a little later, but like sometimes it feels like especially when there's like two characters in a room, it feels like they're in different films when they're talking to each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there are parts of the film where you really see Burton's influence come through. And you're like, okay, this is beginning to feel like a Burton film, like from the previous two. But then at other times it's like you're watching like a joke, I don't know what I'm watching. But anyway, the next bit we get to is we have the first basically action scene, Two-Face and his goons, they have a fight with Batman. Um and it leads to him basically he's got hostage there and they get trapped in this vault, right?
Yeah, and he's like hanging over Gotham.
Yeah, which they pull out on a helicopter and it's starting to fill up with acid. Makes no sense.
Don't
And
know
you've
what
got
they're
the most
throwing acid in there, but you know.
yeah, you got this acid which isn't corroding anything, but you accept it's melting the shoes of the most annoying guy ever, man.
I was hoping you'd bring this up because I thought I was the only one. Like, this guy, he has to make a one-liner or some joke every 2 seconds, and it's like you're in a hostage situation. You would have probably passed out or something,
He's
and of
so
course,
annoying.
his
And he's not
glasses
it's
even
not
have to
even
fall
like
off and all.
genuine. It's bad acting as well. He's just going, "Oh no," about 5 times. Like, "Oh no," like actually like exactly like that. Oh yeah, I don't know, man. So bad. Um and just the way Batman gets out of it. He gets this guy. I mean, how old is that security guard? That hostage? He's about I don't know 30s. He's got a hearing aid.
Yeah, I was
Such that
questioning that.
Batman can
He's got
crack this safe using his hearing aid and open it up. And then I don't know how he gets out of it. This is still confusing to me. I watched it. I was trying to work out how did that work? Because the whole vault slides exactly millimeter perfect back into its original place by swinging off like a fucking batarang like of tooth floss as thin as that. Like I don't know how heavy that vault is, but it manages to swing off this fucking string shoelace back into its original spot in the building in the bank.
yeah,
And
yeah. It's just yeah. Again, like you said, like these first 10 minutes just feels like you're being set up for something that you're not going to enjoy.
oh no, it was so bad. And it doesn't end there as well because Batman then he's hanging off this Two-Face helicopter, and you get like, okay, maybe this is going to be cool now. And then he just fucking flies the helicopter into the Statue of Liberty, which is
Yeah,
all
why
of a
is the
sudden in
Statue of Liberty
Gotham.
in Gotham of all places? That's what I want to know.
It's so bad. The whole point of the DC universe, Gotham, Metropolis, is it's not. I mean, it's obviously in America, but these are fictional cities, right? Like in Marvel, they have New York and fucking all this shit. So like it works, you know, that if you have Statue of Liberty there, and it doesn't serve any purpose other than something to crash into. So it could have been anything, but for some reason they
Yeah,
just stupid as fuck, man.
I don't know.
Yeah. But then we get to probably the best part of the film. We get Jim Carrey revealed as the Riddler. I thought this scene was really really good because
You like this scene?
I loved it. I loved it because you get Wayne, right? They go into like one of the Wayne you know, Wayne Tower, whatever, like one of his research labs, right? And the guy's showing him around, blah blah blah, yeah, X Y Z, and I just thought the writing and the acting, everything in this scene was actually very well done. And maybe I was reading into a lot of things that I wanted to read into that weren't deliberate, but I thought um, without directly explaining everything, I thought there was a lot of actually depth in what was going on there, and it explained a lot without having to. So you had like, you know, this is obviously, I mean, it helps obviously if you already know about the Riddler and you've seen the animated series and stuff. But even without that, you kind of get this Jim Carrey where he's this kind of genius that keeps being overlooked, and he's like thought of as insane because like he's out there with his ideas, and all he wants is to prove it to Bruce Wayne because no one else will listen to him. His asshole boss won't listen to him. He's got this invention. He knows it's going to be a success. All he wants to do is like show Bruce Wayne, who he's never met, but he thinks he's like put all of his belief in the fact that Bruce Wayne's going to understand him and invest in this idea with him and make him like a success. And none of that is explained really, but for me, that's what I read into it straight away. And you get Wayne coming along, and then you get Jim Carrey, man, and I really liked it. I thought this whole scene was great because he comes in there and he's like, the guy's trying to usher his boss is trying to usher him away for like get out, you know, trying to, you know, keep Bruce Wayne from meeting this guy, but then he forces his way in, has this great conversation, and it's like I think Jim Carrey very over the top, going full Jim Carrey, but I really think it worked actually. I really enjoyed this.
I don't know. Personally, I'd have to disagree with it because I actually quite starkly remember this like opening of this scene, even like Bruce Wayne just going into the place that's already playing some like really fucking weird music that I can't get out of my head. And I don't know. I can kind of get what they were trying to do with like the Riddler with Jim Carrey, but I kind of feel that it almost like turned into a Jim Carrey film like shortly, like for this little bit. And him talking to Bruce Wayne, this is one of those moments where I kind of feel like it's almost like two completely different films are happening in the same like moment. Like they just don't feel like they belong together. I don't know what it is, but it's like Bruce Wayne is talking to someone who's like yes, he's eccentric, but this is like beyond eccentric. It's like Jim Carrey shouting and everything, or like he's just going like bananas, and it's like I don't know. And then Bruce Wayne's like acting like it's completely normal. It's like it's one of these things I didn't like in the film. It feels like it's like disjointed as hell. It's like I
No,
don't know.
I think that did work for me because that's what you needed for the Riddler's character. Because why else would they try and hide this guy away? They don't want Wayne to meet him because you know they think he's going to weird him out, whatever, and like you know they want to press on to more important business instead of getting distracted by this weirdo that they employ. Um,
Although I did have to say one good thing about this. I did like his like last line when he after Bruce turns him down. He's like, what does he say? He's like, "You're supposed to understand. I'll
yeah,
make you understand." Because I actually quite liked his delivery on that. It's like he kind
yeah.
of turns into sort of like like an actually insane guy who's not like a joke almost.
It is cool how you do get like a Riddler origin story here. I actually I appreciate that, and it worked for me because I didn't know really what to expect with Jim Carrey's Riddler. I knew what to expect, but I didn't. It wasn't what this was. You know, I was quite pleasantly surprised. I didn't know how it would fit within this film and everything. But I think in terms of when he's actually Edward Nigma rather than the Riddler, before he becomes the Riddler, when he is Edward Nigma, in these kind of scenes, there's a couple scenes you get with him. I think he pulled it off. I thought I bought into it. You know, he was this like he's this wacky scientist basically. He's obsessed. and you can see all the symptoms towards him becoming the Riddler, and we see all that later on. But I actually thought it worked for me. I thought it worked for me. I liked it, and yeah, the dialogue with Bruce Wayne, because this is the first time we're seeing Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne as well, right? In amongst all this is also his introduction as Bruce Wayne, which I thought was okay. Actually, I thought Val Kilmer was actually overall quite decent. I thought obviously the film he's in was like unfortunate in terms of what he had to work with, but I got the sense that he took this role seriously and he was trying to like make the best of it. I don't know about you, but I thought the strongest parts of this film was Val Kilmer and Jim
Yeah,
Carrey.
I'd have to agree with
That's
that.
probably why I like this scene the most because the pair of them together and their interactions, yeah, they're very different, but I think they work off each other, even though they're from such a different perspective. It's still like it creates the kind of the motivation that you need the Riddler to have later on to do the shit he does.
I don't know, because I personally agree that the best parts of this film were, without the villains personally. The moments with, Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne and as Batman are probably the highlights. But also, I'd have to say this scene is his introduction as Bruce Wayne. I kind of, like I said earlier, I didn't really like it because it's like a bit jarring between these two personally, and I feel like they just don't fit together. Like
But that's the
it
point. That's
almost
why
feels
he
like Bruce
rejected
Wayne's an
because of
idiot or something.
because Edward Nigma. He really thinks he's so believing that this is his chance. This is what his whole life is built up to. This moment where he meets Bruce Wayne, he pitches him his idea, and Bruce Wayne's going to go, "Yeah, let's do this." And maybe on another day, Bruce Wayne would have done that. You never know. But obviously, he comes through the moral standpoint where he goes, "Well, messing with brainwaves doesn't sound very good." And but and he tries to fob him off. He's like, "Well, deal with my secretary, blah blah blah." And he's like, "No, I need an answer now, because this is the only chance that Edward Nigma's ever going to get. Right? This is all or nothing for him." And he really believes if he pitches Batman into it, that Bruce Wayne into it, that he's going to agree with them and go, yeah, all right, take a punt on him, but he doesn't. And I thought that worked very well. I don't know why. Like I'm very passionate about that, but I'm like I think that back and forth really works for me actually. But I don't know. I believe in Jim Carrey's Riddler, man. I actually quite liked it. And Val Kilmer, the only thing I didn't like about that was it just made Val Kilmer look too much of like a corporate asshole, like. But I guess that is, in a sense, what Bruce Wayne is, and he would accidentally, inadvertently end up doing that, rubbing off the wrong way with people. I mean, that happens in business, right? You can't give everyone what they want, and the Riddler is just a victim of that, but obviously like an extreme one, and that's why he goes on to become the supervillain. Because obviously, in other Riddler portrayals, it's not like I'm thinking of the animated series mostly here. It's not Bruce. He's not working for Bruce Wayne. He's working for some other guy, like comic books, or I can't remember what it was, making puzzles, right? And he wants to go and do something, and his boss says no. And then when in this film, when you're making that boss Bruce Wayne, I thought that was a very cool thing to do and have that dynamic that Edward Nigma was working for Bruce Wayne, got rejected, and then became a villain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind
I
of like
thought
the premise with that. I just don't really like the execution of it personally. I
Although,
mean,
having said all that, that's basically what they do with Mad Hatter, right? Jervis Tetch. If I remember right, in the animated series, he worked for Bruce Wayne, and it's like a similar pattern. Came up with this idea, got turned down, and then went and did it himself and became a villain. Um, so maybe there's a bit of that as well. But I don't know. I thought for the beginning, I was like, oh, I really enjoy. After that scene, I was like, okay, this film has something for me. I have something to look forward to now. Because up until that moment, I was like, fuck, man, I'm wasting 2 hours of my life. But then I saw this, I was like, okay, I got something to look forward to here.
God, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I personally think that like having Jim Carrey as the Riddler was a mistake. Like this almost feels like something which they should like they tried to cast David Bowie a million times. This is something he could have
Mm.
probably done.
Later on in the film, I got mad David Bowie vibes, just visually.
Yeah,
Like when he's got like the white face and the orange hair, I was like, that is literally Ziggy Stardust, man. I was like, what the fuck is going
maybe
on?
that was intentional. Actually, There's a funny thing about that, his style, because Jim Carrey originally wanted to shave the Riddler's question mark into his hair, but
Oh,
he couldn't do it because he had to actually finalize his divorce in court.
no way. Oh, that's a shame. I'll tell you a fun fact about Jim Carrey. He's the only person on the planet that has the same birthday as me. So,
I didn't know you shared a birthday, but yeah.
yeah, fun fact. So, anyway, let's get back to the film. So, the next thing we get is the bat signal. Batman goes, sorry, yeah, because Val Kilmer, Bruce Wayne, he's talking to the Riddler, and then he sees the bat signal, and he's like, nah, sorry, mate, and then shoots off. Right, answers the bat signal, and this is where I first noticed the bat nipples, and then it's not Commissioner Gordon, it's not crime, it's just this girl who is horny as fuck for Batman, and
Oh yeah, how did she get access to this bat
I
signal?
don't know. I hated this scene. This threw me right back into this fucking shit show of a film, man. I
Yeah,
was
it's like,
watching this and I was like, oh man, like I couldn't believe what I was watching. When she takes off the jacket, she's like flashing his tits in his face, man, and like,
yeah,
uh
it's like constant back and forth of like really bad puns and jokes, and
so
it's like
bad.
who cleared this in the writing department
I
as well?
know. And I felt bad for Val Kilmer. I don't know why. I felt like Val Kilmer because when he has a chance to actually act and do have some meaningful dialogue, which he does later on, I think he does very well. And it gave me the belief that he actually was taking this seriously and with a better script. I mean, with a better script and better actors around him and everything, and better people to bounce off, it would have worked. But this is the kind of scene that just ruins the film
Yeah,
and what
it's like
people remember the film for, right?
yeah, it's like I like actually distinctly remember like the thing she's like, oh yeah, I've got. She said along the lines of, like I've got a thing for you, and then he was like, oh yeah, chicks love the car, and it's like, what the fuck? Why would Batman ever say something like that? It's like a yeah. Michael Keaton was the guy who's supposed to do comedy, not this one.
Yeah, man. I don't blame Val Kilmer for it. And I got to say, by the way, going to this film, I haven't seen Val Kilmer in anything else. So I didn't really know what to expect. I'd never seen him in any other film, so I was kind of like, this is a bit of an unknown for me. So I went in. This is one element of the film where I was able to be very unprejudiced and just go, okay, let's see what he does. I didn't. I'd heard a lot about other things to do with this film, but actually Val Kilmer's Batman, I hadn't heard much either way. So actually seeing him myself, I actually believed, I thought he was okay. But anyway, so we have this terrible back and forth with this blonde Chase, right, Doctor
Agent
Chase,
Chase, yeah.
and um, and then yeah, we cut back to the Riddler. Again, I love this scene. This is where it does. This is where you're right. This is
His little
there's a bit.
hideout, is it?
No. This is back at
Oh yeah,
Wayne's
of
thing,
course, yeah.
and
We have to mention that, yeah.
he's like working overtime because he's like pissed off at that conversation with Bruce Wayne. So now he's like, I'm going to do this myself, and he's like getting his machine ready, and then his asshole boss comes along and goes, "What are you still doing here? I'm calling security. You're fired." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "Oh, I'm fired, am I? Whatever." Fucking like knocks him out, and he wait. I don't know why. It's only Jim Carrey can get away with this shit, but he like plucks the guy's mustache to wake him up and he puts him he's like, oh, wake up, guinea pig, and he's like in this machine that Edward Nygma's created in his invention. And I really like this bit. I mean, okay, it gets really stupid when they're both in the thing and they're both like being fucking electrocuted by it, whatever. And then you see Jim Carrey, he's going full Jim Carrey, and he's like doing all the faces and shit. That took me out of it. That was like, okay, yeah, this is Ace Ventura fucking
Yeah,
bullshit, man.
that's how I felt watching some of this.
This is like, okay, all right. This is where I'm beginning to like, all right, it's not as good as I hoped. He did do this shit, but I'll let him get away with it a little bit. It's like in the substitute of having actual visual effects, right? And then you've got the boss guy as well. He's doing these faces as well, and he's like, "Oh boy, all this shit." And
Yeah, they're watching a fishing program or something as well, which is interesting.
exactly. And this is the
With some
thing.
interesting CGI as usual.
Yeah, the invention itself, it comes from a cool concept, and I think in this scene alone, where you have the effects are quite good because you actually have this TV and you have the fish popping out of it, and I was like, oh, that actually looks quite cool. Okay, yeah, it's very 90s, it's very like 90s visual effects, but I was kind of, oh, that's quite cool. and you've got basically Riddler there, and he's like, oh, he's like, this is his plan, this is his invention. Later on, it becomes bullshit, but for this bit, I got it, I liked it, and then when he's done, and obviously the whole point is because obviously you can, um, what's the concept behind it? Because Batman
Yeah,
explains
it
it
like
later on.
pulls people's like brain power or something, and it gives it to Edward Nigma.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like the villainous point of it is the fact that Nigma can extract brainwaves, right, or extract IQ or something, some bullshit.
Yeah, somehow he's
Yeah,
got
but
some tech from the year 3000 here.
yeah, but the premise is obviously the fact that it's like, oh, okay, this is like, so
Thank you,
this is
Al.
his invention, right? And then when he's done experimenting on it, he goes, and this is really cool because he's like, because the guy keeps antagonizing him, and you're like, what do you expect is going to happen? You're fucking saying all this shit to this insane guy. What are you expecting? He's gonna kill you. This asshole boss, you're going to the police, you're going to this, X, Y, Z, and you're fired. You heard me? You're fired. You didn't hear me the third time. I'll tell you again. You're fired. And and Edward. I mean, Jim Carrey's going full Jim Carrey with like the expressions, the reactions. I thought it was quite
Yeah,
funny.
there's never a time where he's not doing that. Honestly, in this film,
Yeah, but I like it. It is Jim Carrey, and he does it.
I don't.
And and then he pushes him off the chair, and the cable's holding it, and it's just in because I was thinking, why the fuck would you throw away your invention, and or part of it, and he kicks the chair out, and it just goes, and just the plug holds it in, right, and then the guy's like dangling out, and I love the way because I was wondering, are they going to do this, like, are they going to do something cool with this film where he lifts the helmet off, and that drops the guy to his death. And they actually do it, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" Like I thought it was going to be like,
Yeah, that was not execution. Like
I
that
thought
was probably the only good
I
thing I've
liked it.
seen.
Yeah, man, I thought it was really good.
But then, like, when they cut to the what's it called the computer generated fake camera footage of him like
That made me
running
laugh.
like out of the window, like it's like this is the thing that I hate because it's like because of like Jim Carrey's Riddler, everyone else in this like has to be kind of retarded because they're like, oh, this guy who was never like shown any suicidal tendencies just ran out of a window like a pansy,
It was
And then
so
Bruce is
funny,
like,
bro.
something doesn't quite add up about this. It's like we've gone back to 1966. Where like they're all like wondering about something like the most obvious thing that's ever happened.
But it's so fun. It's so bad, but it's so funny. Like for me, they kind of put because at this point the film was like, all right, let me just try and enjoy what I can here, and that was Jim Carrey. Because the next thing, yeah, it cuts to Bruce Wayne coming back to the office, and he's like looking around, oh, what happened, and Commissioner Gordon being a complete moron, like, oh, well, this is clear, cut and dry. Look at the camera, and the guy just like strolling like he's walking in the park, just like out the window, man. And then it cuts to Jim Carrey. He's there, and he's crying his eyes out. He's like a father, like a brother, like a
Or a cousin
cousin.
that
He's
visits
visited
very
me.
often. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really funny, man. And
And
he's
that
like,
bit was kind
and
of
he
funny.
left this note, and it's in his handwriting. You can check that yourself. Oh, I'm so sad. And then it's like, goodbye, cruel world. And stuff. I'm like, I found that funny, man. I'm
That
not
bit
gonna
was
lie.
quite funny to be fair.
It was
Only
okay.
'cause it's Jim Carrey.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing. Only Jim Carrey can pull that off. So that's why they get away with it for me. Um, and yeah, and then Bruce Wayne gets the first riddle. No, this isn't the first riddle. It
No,
kind
he
of is,
doesn't
but it
need the
isn't
first
because
riddle.
he actually goes. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I shouldn't have, but I did. I got goosebumps when Jim Carrey goes, "Riddle me this" for the first time to the arsehole boss, and then he does the riddle, and I'm like, "Oh, that's great!" It's like, "What's yours?" And now it's mine. It's his mind, whatever, right? And then Bruce Wayne gets a riddle, and it's like a picture of him and everything, and it's like, oh, okay, this is quite cool actually, the way they do the riddles.
Yeah, I do. I had to say, I
I
like
thought,
I like sort of the handcrafted, pop up, fold out, whatever it is. He's like colludes bits of like letters from like newspapers and so on in it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And when we get to 20 years later, you have the Batman and you have the Riddler again, and he's giving letters. I mean, it's not Edward Nigma to Bruce Wayne. It's obviously the Riddler to Batman. But still, it's like I could see, like, I think that was a really cool way of doing it. And again, this is why it was important that the Riddler is working for Bruce Wayne originally, because it's like, oh, that he created him, so then that justifies this obsession he has with him later. I thought that worked for me as part of the plot for this film. That was the only bit that actually really worked for me. So then we get Bruce Wayne uses this as an excuse to go and check out Dr. Chase. He goes and literally kicks down her door, the tallest
that asks
door in the
questioning
world.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like he picks it up as well later on to put it back.
Yeah.
It's like a piece of cardboard,
Well, yeah, it's literally like a prop door from a film set, and you're like made of foam, and you're like, oh, that takes me out of it. And anyway, he's like, trying to chat her up, and like, under the premise of like solving the riddles, which they do. And I've got to say, the riddles were like quite good as well. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
they
that
are
was
quite
interesting.
good.
It wasn't like the stupid ones from Batman 1966. They were actually riddles that made sense, and I was like, oh, okay, it's quite good.
No more Russians slipping on banana peels.
Huh. Let's not even go there. Because the next bit we get is now this is the beginning of something terrible, but the beginning was actually quite cool because the next thing, like, yeah, let's go to the circus, and it's the Flying Graysons, and I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah, I knew
like,
as soon as we went to the circus, you'd probably see him.
yeah, but I didn't know Robin was in this film. For some reason, I didn't know he was in this film. I just knew he was in Batman and Robin, obviously. I had no idea he was in this film.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But I
Yeah, and
mean,
I was
as
like, the
soon as I
Flying
went to the
Graysons, cool.
circus,
We're gonna get Robin's origin story. I'm like, okay, I'm here for this. Um, and yeah, and it's terrible because obviously Robin's meant to be how old? Dick Grayson. He's meant to be what? 14, something like that, 15 max, like a young teenager, right? Or
yeah,
even younger, like 10, 11, 12,
yeah, the
something like
cast
that.
the guy looks like he's 22.
Yeah, it looks old. He looks like he's 30, man. He looks like he's a rent boy. He's got like a fucking giving blowjobs to sailors, man. He's got like the earring, man, this like buzz haircut, man. You're like, what the? He's like he's just broken out of prison or something, man. I'm like, this is the least convincing thing. And I know back in those days, there was a big habit of casting grown men as children, in films. But this is like really taking the piss, man. And anyway, so like you've got this the Flying Graysons, and it's kind of and I liked that they were wearing the Robin costume, but
Yeah, I
like
did
the
like that too. I
OG
was
one.
like, hmm.
That was like I like the way they did that.
Yeah,
But
but it
after
all
this, all
goes.
goes downhill because Tom
Yeah, I
Lee
was literally gonna
Jones,
say it goes downhill as
yeah,
soon as Two-Face turns up.
very like a fucking lead balloon, man. You have Two Face, he like hijacks this whole circus thing, and
Got his bomb.
obviously, yeah, and he like basically, oh yeah, he's got this bomb going on. This is like the same bomb from the '60s Batman. It's like on a ticker as well.
Yeah, no, all
Uh,
it's missing is like the little fuse at the top.
yeah, and again, everything Two Face does is confusing in this film. You have the vault thing early, and you're like, what was going on there? And then in this, you have like they're like they've got this everyone in the circus hostage, and the Graysons are like trying to risking their lives for some reason to try and stop this bomb, and they're all like flying around and taking down armed henchmen and shit to do so.
Yeah,
And then somehow Dick Grayson is pulling it out of the top of the circus, and like
yeah. Why was it raising to start with like?
yeah, and he's
Who
like, and
did
he
that?
throws it like it's a throw-in, man, in football into like the docks, so it blows up there.
Yeah, maybe it blowing up a few fishermen. Like, but
Yeah,
also one thing I didn't understand is like yeah, the thing that Two Face says, I want Batman dead. Like he's like, oh, one of you in this room could be him or whatever. And
yeah,
then when everyone's like shouting and so on, like Bruce Wayne stands up and shouts like, I'm Batman. But then for some reason, no one next to him hears that, and obviously
yeah,
Two
yeah.
Face doesn't hear it. And then he has like a change of plan where he starts beating people up, and it's like
Yeah,
no one
yeah,
questions.
exactly.
No,
Bruce Wayne starts like, well, I'm just going to be Batman, but without the suit. And he achieves nothing either. He takes out a few henchmen, but that's it.
yeah,
And
he's
it's
like
like,
on. The thing is, he's also on the floor, like the same spot
yeah,
as what's his name, Two Face, when he shoot just like a few seconds before he actually shoots them, the Flying Graysons. But like he never actually like does anything. It's like he takes out a
yeah,
henchman and he's
he
like
does
standing around
nothing.
like a lemon.
It's so bad. And he's the only one from the crowd trying to do something. It's like, this guy's so obviously Batman. Yeah, he just shouted it, but obviously I thought that was a cool moment when he goes, Harvey. Because Val Kilmer again. This is where I'm convinced he's quite good because he realizes he has no choice but to come out as Batman now. He has no choice to save all these people. He has no choice but to do it, and he does it. And he says, "Harvey, I'm Batman." But obviously, it's like in this room where it's so crowded and loud, no one hears it because there's all this panic going on around him, which I thought was a really cool moment, and it was a good moment from Val Kilmer. But then, yeah, it just goes on to he has to do something ridiculous, which is like have a fight for no reason.
Yeah, and basically blows cover
Because
anyway.
he has to do something, but there's nothing he can do. And it results in Two-Face disappearing through the floor. What Two-Face was doing there in the first place made no sense. He's there for Batman, but then, like, he doesn't get
He just
Batman, so he's
goes
like, all right,
away,
I'm
you
gonna
know.
fuck off anyway.
It's not like he even made off with any money or anything. It's like, what's the point?
Nothing. This is a complete waste of time. All he's done is kill some fucking gymnasts and left Robin going there looking down like, oh no, my parents are dead. And then yeah, Batman sees it, and then the next scene is like, it's like, oh, yeah, it's so nice of you, Mr. Wayne, to take in Robin, you know, and you're like, why? There's nothing. Okay, so for Bruce Wayne to be his legal guardian, to need to take this guy in, he needs to be less than 18 years old, right? And this is the least 18-year-old looking guy I've ever seen in my life. So what's the
Yeah,
point?
it does. It just throw you out of there a bit. But I had to say, with
Oh, it
this,
threw me
like,
right out. Couldn't they have cast a better actor for this guy, man? Bring back fucking Burt Ward, man, for all I care. Do you know what I mean? This is just terrible. The
yeah, I
worst
mean,
part of this film,
he did have,
maybe.
I mean, yeah, but this whole conversation between him and, well, who become Robin, Mr. Grayson. He's like, um, yeah, he's like talking to him, saying like, oh, you can stay here and so on, and then like Dick Grayson's resisting it and so on.
Mhm.
And then he shows him the motorbikes
Yeah.
later on, which I kind of like that they sort of he's like reeling him in with the the stuff that he actually knows he likes, but then he's like thinks, oh, you're just some guy who's got a car collection, and he looks over and he's actually got some like the coolest bikes ever.
Yeah.
But then like I kind of like it was a bit like it took a little bit of like a dip when he was like, oh well, if someone help fix this motorbike, they could have it, which is like a little hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But then Alfred has to come in with
Yeah.
like a fucking tray of food, like like nudging you in the shoulder and winking at you, being like, oh yeah, well, I guess you're gonna have to throw this to the dogs, see if they're hungry, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, thanks Alfred,
Yeah, and he
like it
brings
was
out
okay, it was
Playboy
already
Mansion.
like.
He goes, "Oh well, I was looking for a young man to bang all these models, but guess I'll have to do it myself now. See you later." What is the
It's like it would have just been fine if they left it at what Bruce said.
even with what Bruce Wayne said? Because he's like, "Well, it's a shame because I would like someone to help me with these bikes, and they would
Yeah,
get
that was
taken. But
tenuous.
yeah, as well, have a nice journey. Good luck with life and everything." That was like, okay, that is where you draw the line. It was still a little bit too far there. You're just flexing on this kid to like make him
Yeah, this
step
kid who's like his whole
against
family
his
just died in front
wishes
of
when
him.
his parents just died. Exactly. So your route of action is to like flex on this guy until he stays. Okay, and then yeah, so it's okay. That's like a little. That's not even a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That's like elbow. Okay, and you're like okay, and then you've got fucking Alfred with the sledgehammer around the head.
Yeah, he's explaining the joke to you almost.
There's like a trailer. Oh, I was looking for someone to eat all this nice food. I guess the dogs must be hungry. Let me go do that. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake,
I
man.
wants to die when I saw that. Like, come on.
So bad, man. Um. Anyway, so then we get another bit of action scene where the Batmobile goes out on a mission to against Two Face. Again, it's just stupid Two Face shit, man. I so much like this is the one thing I was looking forward to in the film. I thought Tommy Lee Jones. I'm like, I was quite looking for. I was so disappointed with what they did with his character, man. With this Tommy Lee Jones Two Face, there's no reason that could be bad, but it is. It's terrible. And he's like, he fires this rocket at the Batmobile. The Batmobile does something really cool, inexplicable but cool nonetheless, where the wheels turn and
Yeah,
it's
it
like
goes sideways. Yeah.
that was really cool. I was
Don't know
like,
what
oh
kind of
shit.
axles he has in that, but
Yeah, that makes no sense, but okay. And then if you thought that was like okay, if you let that slide, then the next thing it fucking does, as it's
well,
driving away from
all of
Two Face and all the henchmen, is fucking shoot a. It raises off its front two wheels, shoots a like maybe how many degrees, maybe 10 degrees off the ground, shoots like a python out of the front, like a mile into the air, right?
Don't know how he
And then
targets that as well. Like, how does he
yeah,
aim it?
how does it fire that high up? And then it just drives up the way. I don't even want to fucking dwell on this and the physics of why that wouldn't work and all the bullshit. It's just the stupidest thing I've ever
You've
seen.
got like you got Two-Face at the end just to make his like like his stupid noises, not just like
Yeah.
his laugh. He's like wow every single
Yeah, yeah.
time.
Like, what are you? Are you Penguin? Are you Joker right now? Like, you're anything but Two Face. So, the only thing reminding us is the terrible makeup covering half your face. And they don't even do anything with the hair. They just they do what I do after I've had a shower. I'm combing half of my hair and then leave the other half out there just to like, oh yeah, that looks cool. That was their costume design for the Two Face, man.
I mean, I do have to respect his like the like split suit and the split tie. That's kind of cool, but other than
Yeah,
that,
that's always cool. That's not hard to achieve, man. I could do that on a Halloween party,
yeah,
but
that's true. But I liked the suit
could have
anyway.
done a bit better with the face and the hair, man. Anyway,
Moving.
Batman drives off up a wall. Do you have anything you want to say about this scene, or can we move on from it?
No, I'd like to ask my physics teacher, my
Yeah,
ex-physics teacher about that, but
so bad. Why did they feel the need to do this, man? Uh,
would you
anyway,
say this is worse than the time when the Batmobile in the previous film turns into like what's it called, as you
yeah,
said, yeah,
yeah, it's worse than that. Yeah, it's worse than that. At least that was like something. It was bad. I was more pissed off at that because they ruined such a nice Batmobile. But with this, I was like, this just is ridiculous. This just the
it's
stupidest
like the
thing I've ever
film's
seen.
turn. Like there are some points where this film like just turns into parody. Like
Yeah, it's literally like even that is like I would raise an eyebrow if I saw that in the '60s Batman, right? And it's in this. I'm like, okay. Um. Anyway, now this is a bit which is quite cool. This is the only cool Two-Face bit, right? Because we get to see his hideout, right? His HQ,
yeah, this yeah.
and
Would you say this is like a almost Tim like you can see like Tim Burton might have done this?
yeah, yeah, this is quite cool. And it's like very interesting. And it's like, okay, this is your chance to do something with Two Face, and they do something with it, and it's cool because it's like, okay, you have. I mean, it starts off fucking. I don't know if I find this funny or stupid or it's both. But he's like, if the girl puts one cigarette in his mouth, he lights it like a normal cigarette, and like, okay, cool, and then puts another cigarette in the other, or like a pipe, and then lights it with like a fucking blowtorch or something, man. And he's like, takes one puff from both and then takes them both out. And you're like, okay. If you've ever tried smoking two cigarettes at the same time, you know it doesn't work. But and yeah, you've got two different women either side of him, and you're like, okay, this is kind of interesting. This is kind of cool. And you've got like a pig roasting on a spit on the dark side, and then like something nice on the other side, and it's like, oh, we've got two different meals for you, blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, this is fucking retarded. Yeah, this is fucking stupid. This whole scene, but at least they did something with
Yeah,
it.
at
You're like,
least
okay,
visually it's kind of all right.
visually it's interesting for sure. I'll give it that, if nothing else.
Yeah, and then you get Jim Carrey dropping in.
Yeah, and then yeah, the Riddler enters in full Riddler costume, man, and this is terrible, man. This is like this
He's
is
lost
so
the
bad.
confidence.
Yeah, and like, what? Okay, I want to ask you something. You know, the Riddler, he's wearing the eye make, but that's not a mask, is it? That's painted on, isn't it? The eye makeup, the
Yeah, he
green.
has eye makeup underneath it. Yeah,
But is it painted on, or is he wearing a mask?
I
Like a
think he's
very
wearing a
thin.
mask, but with eye makeup underneath, a bit like Batman. That's what I think is going
I
on
couldn't
there.
tell because I couldn't tell where it connected behind his ears and everything.
I have no idea,
It
honestly.
was so weird, and it was so bright green. I thought that must be like fresh paint, but I'm not sure. Very weird. And
But I
I
do
don't know
have to
why he's got
say,
this like. I don't know why he's got that orange haircut as well. I mean, in this scene in particular, I think he was wearing the bowl hat, which was a nice
yeah,
nod.
I think
I
it
like that.
was.
But why he's got that? Why he switches between haircuts during the film? I don't understand. Um,
I don't know.
but
But
yeah,
well, the one thing I do like is his little golden cane that's a question mark.
that
I
was
think
cool.
that's quite nice. But apparently he Jim Carrey broke quite a lot of them while learning to flip and twist them like that.
I'm not surprised, but I think that was worth it because it was cool to see what he did with them.
I do like that. Yeah.
So then so the Riddler meets Two-Face, Two-Face, and they're coming up with a plan to kill Batman. Or is it to kill Batman or to like find his identity? That's what
Yeah,
they're thinking, right?
humiliate him and then kill him.
Yeah, like, the biggest riddle of all, who is the Batman? Like, So I'm like, okay, cool. And they start robbing jewelry stores and casinos and like harvesting brains and shit, man. It's like they're like scanning Gotham, and this is really stupid, man. This is like the Riddler's like, okay, you can write the Riddler off as well at this point, because it's like fucking you just have this every household with this green like rays going into the TV and then going up into like this fucking Riddler tower, and he's sat on his throne with like it all going into his head, man. This is fucking stupid, man. Like I don't need to see anymore, man.
It's like it's like they've got like some I don't know, some like Simpsons episode, like some
Ooh,
like weird villains turned up here. In
it's very
space.
much like that. Yeah, that's the only way you could even somewhat. Yeah, it's like what the fuck is going on?
I mean, yeah, one thing I also wondered is like, there's a Riddler and Two Face here, but who on earth is making all of his like boxes that going in these like houses? Yeah, it's like some of the most complicated tech on earth, and I don't know, he's got a
Oh
factory
yeah, yeah.
for the
Well,
whole.
it's cool. Yeah, because their plan, the reason why they work together is so they can rob all these banks, raise up the capital, so Riddler can actually launch his business idea. And I don't know, they achieve that, but in the space of a week, he becomes like a billionaire for like the
Yeah,
has
he's like now
surpassed
like the
Bruce
new
Wayne.
Bruce Wayne. Yeah, he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, and what I want to know what time frame that was meant to have took place in, from him meeting Two Face to becoming a billionaire worthy of like going toe to toe with Bruce Wayne. How much time does that happen across? Because it feels like in the film like a week maximum, but.
I don't know. Maybe he got like one of those get rich quick tips, or you saw like how to make 20 grand at home a day.
I don't even know, man. But anyway, the bullshit doesn't end there, because then we cut to the scene with Robin and Alfred. Alfred's trying to like, make him feel at home and shit. And then like he's like, oh, I can fold the clothes for you. He's like, no, I don't. I like doing it myself. And you just got this Robin folding clothes like in the. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got like a compilation of them doing it.
Yeah,
It's like,
a
and
compilation of
Alfred's just
folding
sat there like,
clothes.
oh, okay.
What was the point in that?
Yeah, they maybe have deleted scenes of this film, but they decided to keep that in.
Yeah, that's like a Mr. Bean blooper, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, I don't know what the point. And it's like this whole montage, man. It's like, what was this scene trying to achieve? Showing how the most boring thing imaginable can be cool. If so, you failed. It's just like it looks ridiculous. You would, I don't know. I don't even want to dwell on that shit, man. And then the very next thing is Alfred basically showing where the Batcave is, and the way he enters the Batcave, it's like Alfred opens the door, doesn't close it, so the door's like just swinging shut, and Robin like fucking jumps off, parkours off everything in the fucking room except just walk through the door. He's like jumping around everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's because Alfred thought he wouldn't be able to get down there in time because he was at like the
Yeah,
very top of the room. But
I accept that, but then you don't need to like fucking jump around every lamp and shit. You just fucking do a few somersaults off the banister wherever you are.
yeah, like Catwoman wouldn't do that.
Land on you. Exactly. Like how Catwoman would do it. Thank you. So yeah, so Robin finds the fucking Batcave, and Alfred just turns around. And he's like looking like he's caught him having a wank, or something. It's just like, all right.
Yeah, there's no audio, there's no dialogue between them either. They just sort of
No,
see
no.
each other, and then it
Alfred
cuts.
just looks around like he's been caught having a wank. It's like, I don't know. So then, what happens next? You think, okay, there's so much potential. Okay, Robin has discovered Batman's identity, right? So what are like, and you think, okay, there's a lot of potential cool shit that you could come off the back of this dialogue. How do you break it to Batman? How do you like have this conversation? What kind of dialogue are we gonna get? None of that. Forget all of that, because the first thing he does, you've discovered you're a child. Your parents have been killed. Your life has been torn apart, right? And you've just discovered the Batcave, right? This guy who's took you in is the Batman, and you're like, shit. What's the first thing I'm gonna do? I'm gonna steal the Batmobile and go for a fucking joyride in it, and pretend I'm Batman to impress thugs. So I don't know. That's because this is exactly what happens. He goes in the Batmobile. He's driving it around like a dick, and then he like opens up the top, and he's like, yeah, oh. And it's like, and everyone goes, "Oh, you're not Batman." And he's like, "Yeah, I am." And he's like trying to get laid with this newfound fucking like bullshit. And then he's like, "Oh, and he starts having a fight with like these fucking murderous people. And you're like, "Well, you're a fucking gymnast, mate. Since when did you know how to fucking take on armed henchmen?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, I'd say with this like little bit of trivia here, he
Yeah.
like like Dick Grayson drives this Batmobile, and normally in the films the Batmobile's driven by stunt drivers, and Chris O'Donnell wants to drive it himself, but he crashed it a couple times, so they I don't think they let him. Don't think they let him throughout most of the film,
I
apart from
don't
when
know,
they
mate.
actually had to have him in there.
Chris O'Donnell, man. I I I mean, maybe he's a really nice guy and everything. I don't say it, but man, I hope I never see him in a film ever again, man. This guy was terrible. Does he come back in Batman and Robin? Is he Robin in Batman and Robin as well? Do you know?
I don't want to know. We'll
Oh,
find out.
fucking hell, man. If I have to watch another 2 hours of this guy, man. Oh. Well, anyway, it'll be worth it when we get to like the good films, man. This is the dark ages of this podcast, man.
Dark Ages of Batman, yeah.
Yeah, of everything, man. Oh, so yeah, oh man, yeah, because he's having a fight with all these guys, and then he kisses this guy, this random girl there is just like, oh, doesn't Batman usually kiss the girl? And he's like, oh yeah. No, well, and you're like, A, no, he doesn't. B, who would ever say that? And C, like, what the fuck is
He
going
doesn't
on?
Batman. She hasn't even. Yeah, I don't think he even drove the car up there. So how does she know?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And then Batman himself comes in, and then Robin's trying to like punch him, and Batman's like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't know. And then they go back to the Batcave and they have a chat. And this is like the only kind of semi-redeemable thing about this Robin. And obviously, this is where you get Val Kilmer. And this is what you're mentioning before. They're actually trying to explore a little bit into Batman's motivations. And he's trying to explain to Robin why he shouldn't kill. And like, I mean, what I do like though is that this is where it's really good. And this is where Val Kilmer actually, when he gets a chance to act, he does well and he has some actually good lines because he never tells Robin not to kill. It's very much his choice, but he's just explaining what would happen if he does go down that route and why he shouldn't. But not in like a preachy way. He's just kind of explaining why he doesn't kill, basically, right?
Mm.
Even though you basically did earlier when you fucking drove up that wall in the Batmobile and caused a pylon of like explosions beneath you because all the cars crashing
Yeah, and
and stuff.
also he did like, assuming this is the same universe and all, he did kind of murder the Joker in the first one.
Well, yeah, he fucking killed a shit ton of people in Batman Returns as well. But anyway, that aside, we're going to give Val Kilmer a fresh chance. And he goes, yeah, like explaining his side of the view. And you're like, okay, this is really cool. We're actually getting a bit of deep Batman conversation. You're like, okay, that's cool. So anyway, yes. So then the next thing we get is the Riddler, basically Edward Nygma. He's made it. He's a success because of his invention, and he's throwing a party, an event, basically. And Bruce Wayne turns up there as well. And this is like his moment of triumph. This is the moment he's dreamed of and worked for since Bruce Wayne rejected him. And they have this whole dick measuring contest. They've both got blondes with them. They're both like da da da. I think Jim Carrey even has like a mold so he could be like Val Kilmer, right? It's like I thought that was quite funny. Like it's like, how's
Yeah.
my mold? Like, like he's so obsessed with it, and it's like even to that level where it is stupid, but it's funny as well. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, I have to say with this, I don't know why, I quite like Jim Carrey in sort of like the businessman suit sort of style here for this.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
it's
like,
probably because he actually doesn't go over the top in this. And I feel,
yeah, yeah, that's
you
true.
know,
And I was surprised how like he really looks good in a tuxedo. I'm like, he's not kind of someone you'd associate, but like we're like, oh shit, he could be anyone, man. It's quite impressive.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, he has this like, he's like, oh, I'm better than Bruce Wayne basically, and he's like letting him know it, and Bruce Wayne's just sucking up. He's taking, he's like, okay, whatever. And I kind of like this scene. Like I say, it's like again, it's like because Jim Carrey is to be a bit more toned down in this scene, and you're like, okay, this is quite cool. So anyway, Riddler and Wayne are having this back and forth, and it's pretty cool bit of dialogue. And although it's a bit weird because the girlfriends as well, they're like because Jim Carrey like offers to dance with Dr. Chase, and she's like all over him. She like jumps on his dick, man, and just leaves Val Kilmer, and Bruce Wayne's just there, and he's like, okay, like You know.
Yeah, that did make me question it as well. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, bit strange. But I think Bruce Wayne had other things on his mind. He wanted to go and check out this machine, right? So he goes backstage and he's like trying. This is a bit weird as well because basically, yeah, that's right. Because Riddler's girlfriend was like basically tricked Bruce Wayne into trying out this machine and extracting
His
his
neural
fucking
patterns so they can map his
knowledge,
brain.
yeah,
Yeah.
into this computer. And this is like that's quite cool. Even though the way this technology is displayed as ridiculous, the actual concepts of it and the way they use it is actually quite cool.
I think
Actually,
they do this in the Batman animated series at one point as well. Like they read Bruce Wayne's mind and find out he's Batman.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, this is done a slightly different way, but
Yeah.
anyway. So while that's all going on, Two Face crashes the party, and you just again, fucking Tommy Lee Jones Two Face ruining the moment, man. Because this was quite good up until this moment, and then Two Face comes in there, and it's like for no reason he's shooting everyone up, stealing jewelry again, and it's like Riddler and then Riddler goes up to him and he's like, what are you doing, man? We're partners, and he's like, well, I haven't seen Batman yet. You said you were gonna help me kill him, and we haven't done anything yet. You've been so focused, and you're like, okay, yeah, fair. Like you don't again because we don't know what time frame this is happening over. It feels like a week, but it could be 6 months. It could be a year, like realistically, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
obviously it's not.
one thing I didn't understand with this as well is like Bruce Wayne like escapes and he gets out. He goes home. He has like a conversation with like Robin about not Robin, but Dick Grayson about how he's not going to join him and so on. He gets dressed, gets in the Batmobile, goes back, and they're still there, like for him to take down. Supposedly, right?
Is that right?
At least I think so. Or
Oh,
he pops off like I'm pretty sure he goes off with Alfred, saying, "Oh, yes, emergency," and then he like I might be like going crazy or something after this film.
I don't know. I'm a bit confused as well. I only remember one bit as well from this bit because yeah, he goes into the car with Alfred, and Alfred has a line which is like he has actually the only good Alfred line, man. He says something like, "Oh, perhaps they'll have me back at Buckingham Palace."
Yeah, he's like, oh, I
I was
might
like,
get in trouble
"Oh
for
shit!"
this. Yeah, no. He no, that's when Dick Grayson like comes for his suit that he's put in the boot. He says that to him.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
'Cause Bruce
That's
Wayne
right.
goes
Yeah,
back. Yeah, so Bruce Wayne must have gone back for the bat suit and then comes back here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But they don't go all the way back to the Batcave. This all happens in the car outside, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll assume he got his costume from there, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, for sure. And yeah, and it's like, oh, yeah, perhaps they'll have me back at Buckingham Palace. I thought that was a funny
That
line.
was pretty funny to be
And it
fair.
makes you think, like, oh, because that's the great thing about Alfred. It's like you never get not this Alfred in particular, but just Alfred in general. He's always got like a mysterious origin story. You never see the Alfred origin story, right? But there's always like, oh, what did he do before he was a butler? And sometimes he's in the military or something like that. Michael Caine sometimes, and the latest Alfred, Andy Serkis, he taught Batman to fight and shit. So it's like got all these. And then this Alfred is like, oh, they'd have me back at Buckingham Palace. So he was like the Queen's butler or something, You're like, yeah, that adds up. Whatever he was doing there. But anyway, so then Batman jumps half a mile into this trap set by Two Face. He takes the tallest jump, the highest jump of this building ever, like and fucking without parachute, without even the bat fucking cape or anything, just like goes straight into this hole in the ground.
No, I think he does use the cape a
Right.
bit to glide.
A little bit, but from that high up, come on,
Yeah,
man,
that's true.
at that speed, and he just like goes into this hole in the ground, and like ends up in this room, which is like a fire room, right? Or whatever. Two Face is like, yeah, I've got him. Sets Batman on fire, but then he doesn't. He like comes through the flames, and then he's like, oh, why won't you just die? And then he shoots him loads of times with like a fucking rocket launcher or some shit. And the whole room like caves in on him and shit, and like sand falls on him and shit. And you're like, okay, well,
Yeah,
he
he's
can
like
easily
very
get out
good
of
there.
that. But Batman can't easily get out of that because he needs Robin to come and like shake, like reach into the dust exactly where Batman's hand is somehow, and then pull him out like that in like the handshake pose, and you're just like, what the fuck? And
I don't know.
Batman's reaction is like, oh, what the fuck are you thinking? You could have got killed, whatever. And you're like, okay, that's a pretty cool response.
It's a guy just saved your life, which makes Dick Grayson like seem like the one who's normal here, and Bruce Wayne's just being a coward.
No, I didn't get that. I was still on Batman's side there because I'm like, yeah, well, he would have got out of that sand pit easily anyway, man. So he's probably just having a breather in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
Fuck Robin, man. This is like so bad, man. Everything he does is terrible. Um, and yeah, so then yeah, Robin pulls him out of the sand. Oh, then we get this scene, man. Batman shows up at this blonde's house, right? She's like sleeping naked, right? And he like turns up at her wing. Yeah, because in the midst of the chaos earlier, right, with Riddler and Two Face and at this party, she gets to have a chat with Batman where she goes, "My place tonight, just you and me," or whatever, right?
Yeah, that was weird. And then why
And
would
then
he stick her up on
he
that?
actually follows up on that, and he turns up at her window, full Batman costume, and she's like there wearing nothing, just like with the bed sheet on her, and it's like, what was the plan here, Batman? Were you just gonna, if you like got a prepared like air, like a zipper, you're just gonna fuck him with the bat suit on, like some fucking some role play shit going on here,
I
or
don't
what?
know. I mean, to be fair, I mean, in the previous film, they did install a zipper on it at Michael Keaton's request, but don't know if this one has it.
Oh man, yeah, I mean presumably, but what was that the plan? Was he gonna fuck her in the bat suit?
God, I don't know. That sounds like
That
the
must
worst
have been
idea
that
ever.
must have been his plan. That must have been his plan. I don't know, because the dialogue is so bad, and the whole character of this of Doctor Chase is so shit. It's like, well, you
Yeah,
don't.
it's
That's
not
the
like
only
it's
conclusion you're left to draw. Like he was going to fuck her in the batsuit, and
yeah,
she would
it's
have
not like
loved it. I don't
she
know.
it's not like she even has like information or something that he might want to know or something or
Yeah,
any
it's
relevant.
just horny. Um. Anyway, she kisses him, and she's like the biggest prick tease of all time because she kisses him. She's bollock naked, yeah. She's fucking ass naked right there, yeah. He's ready to go in her place, yeah. Like everything agreed, and then she kisses him, and then she goes, "But I found someone else."
He does that and like
And obviously, it's okay for him because he's Bruce Wayne, so it's like okay. But man, what the fuck is she thinking, man? She's dick jumping from Bruce Wayne to Batman to Riddler, and then all back around again. And just like I don't know what is going on with this character, Doctor Chase, man. And then we get so she rejects him and he walks away. He's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm Bruce Wayne anyway, so I'm not losing here. Probably got blue balls as fuck, but other than that, he's like, and then you get the bat smile. It's
oh
like,
yeah, he turns around. I was like,
oh,
why, man? It's like
what what
it's
was
like
that?
his Michael Keaton moment where he smiles, and it's like rule number one: do not smile as Batman.
But was this worse? Was this worse than Michael Keaton's smile? I mean, Michael Keaton didn't even smile; he just went like this or whatever. But
Michael
what was?
Keaton's one is like infamous, I think, because this I didn't know about, and I think it's not as bad, but I think it's just coming off of a terrible scene. It just makes it worse.
Oh, it was so bad. I can't believe that was in this film. I can't believe they left that in this film. Even as a blooper, that would be like, what the fuck, you know? Like, let alone the film itself. I couldn't believe that shit, man.
I have no
And do you know
idea.
what I thought? Do you know what I thought watching this scene while it was unfolding? I thought he's going to wake up. This is going to be a dream. That's what I genuinely thought. This is so bad. This must be like part of a dream that he'll wake up from and then continue about the film. But it wasn't. That all happened. I genuinely sat at the beginning. Oh, she's sleeping like this, and he's turning up like that. This must be a dream scene, you know. This isn't really happening. And it's like, oh, it is. Like, what the fuck, man? Anyway, so then we go back to Riddler and Two Face, and they crack Batman's identity. They work out they extracted Bruce Wayne's knowledge, so they go, okay, Bruce Wayne is Batman. Cool little reveal thing, and they're like, okay, let's fuck him up now. Um, in the midst of all this, Batman, he's because of Robin and presumably because of this girl as well, Doctor Chase. He's like, okay, I'm going to retire from being Batman, and this is really cool. Again, like you say, this is like a really deep moment that they were exploring, and like Val Kilmer gets a really good chance to be. It's a shame he's sharing the scene with Robin, but he's closing down all the Batman stuff, and he's like closing down the Batmobile and the switching off the Batcomputer, and he's like, yeah, fuck this, I'm done, I'm retiring, I'm not Batman anymore. And Riddler's like, no, you have. Robin's like, no, you have to. And he's like, nah, you know, I don't want to, like, you know. And he's about to reveal his identity on the date with Doctor Chase, right?
Yeah.
He's like, he's washing his hands of Batman thing because he's seeing what he's doing to Robin and shit. And he's like, the only way I can get out of all this is to quit being Batman, and that's really cool. You don't get this to happen very often, but like I think Val Kilmer's like you're like okay, he's going to throw the towel in. You're like okay, fair enough. Um,
Yeah, he has this. Yeah, he goes on to have this like date with her, right? And we failed to mention this earlier, but he has like flashbacks of his parents
oh
being
yeah.
killed, right? And you know, it's like, is this the first time they actually did it in a film? It
No, no,
seems.
no. They did this in Batman '89. Remember, because he goes to Crime Alley,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah, of course. But I
yeah,
mean, like,
and it's revealed that Joker killed his parents.
yeah, I know. But yeah, yeah. In this one, it's like, you know, an ambiguous guy.
No, no, it's
Um,
not though. It's not though.
is it
I
not?
think that was very clear in my mind. They don't show his face, but it's done. And I think they must have reshot it, but it could have very well been the same footage because the guy is leaning out the shadows, and it's the same hair, the same gun, and everything, the same posture. So I assume they didn't rewrite
Yeah,
that. It was just part of the same universe. So it's still the Joker. They just
well,
don't show it.
yeah. It's like, I don't know. To me, it was slightly ambiguous. So maybe that was intentional. So both sides are happy.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, it was like a classic one. Yeah, even I was like waiting to see if the polls would like drop.
Oh,
Yeah, of
fuck
course they
me,
did.
man. Never fails.
Yeah,
Uh,
but because two flowers drop as well, during this
yeah.
date she drops them, and then that leads him to have a
Oh,
flashback as well.
yeah. Yeah, that was fucking stupid, man.
You know, I don't know. There's
Uh,
like a long string of like psychiatrist love interests that kind
yeah,
of suck. Like
yeah.
you
It's
got this
just this,
one, you got
this,
the one in you got the one in Johnny English Reborn, and you've got the one in Spectre.
yeah, yeah,
Kind of
exactly. And
sucks.
it's like, and it's just these films where they're too lazy to think up of like an original kind of love interest for the film. They have to shoehorn one in. So what kind of role are we going to give them? A psychiatrist or psychologist, whatever, so they can like I don't know, try and work out the main guy who's like some kind of schizo or something, man, in every case, right? Um, so anyway, in the midst of this date, yeah, the Riddler and Two Face they rock up at Wayne Manor, and this is pretty cool because Two Face is fucking up, Wayne Manor, and then the Riddler goes to the Batcave and he like blows it all up, and you think, oh, this is really cool. If this was like in a comic book or in a more serious setting, this would be insane. You got the Riddler and the Two Face. They've worked out Batman's identity, and they turn up at fucking Wayne Manor, and they're fucking shit up. And in any other kind of in a more serious setting, this would be like
It would be insane, but it's
a
not.
historic Batman moment, because I don't know, because it's these films would lead you to believe otherwise. But it's a very rare thing that someone
I
discovers
know
Batman's identity,
it's
right?
like, yeah, it's again one of those like elements that could have been really cool, but it's just not.
Yeah, I mean, you get, for example, I don't know. I mean, for example, when in Batman Begins, when Liam Neeson learns Bruce Wayne is Batman, etc. I mean, he works out not through like a fucking road to Damascus moment, but he just assumes, well, this is obviously Batman, da da da. And he turns up at Wayne Manor. He doesn't need to tell anyone. He's just like, yeah, we're gonna fuck you up, whatever. You should have joined us. You're against us, blah blah blah. You got as well, for example, in I think it's Arkham Origins. Bane discovers Bruce Wayne's identity, but because of Venom, he like forgets it or whatever. I don't know. And it's like, but it's a really monumental moment when the villain discovers Bruce Wayne's identity and goes to the Batcave. And in Arkham Origins, for example, he nearly kills Alfred and stuff. And it's like, wow, this is a really cool moment. This is why it's so important. And because every time this happens, it's supposed to emphasize why Batman's identity, secret identity, is so important because it protects the people close to him, like Alfred and etc. Um. Anyway, anyway, so yeah, Riddler fucking trashes the Batcave. Well, he trashes the Batcave except for the other part, which has the Batwing and the Batboat in it.
Yeah, maybe that's like a super secret part just in
Yeah, that's
case.
conveniently like, oh well, that's obviously a very small part of the cave, right? Where a boat and a fucking spaceship is situated. So yeah,
Yeah, although then again,
anyone can
yeah,
miss that.
I do find it interesting though that later on, just shortly after this, that he kind of he stops Two Face from killing Bruce Wayne like outright.
Well,
Uh,
this is what I don't understand because Two Face does shoot back Bruce Wayne, doesn't he?
yeah, I know. I didn't
It's like
understand
shoots
that
him in the
though as well.
face. He's
He's got
got
like
he's got
a graze on his head or something.
yeah,
Maybe
he's
it's
got
a
like
really poor shot.
some kind of wound on his head. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? I thought they. And could you imagine if they actually like went down some really fucked up route here, where they killed Bruce Wayne and then Robin has to become Batman or something, and then like that would be some like comic book arc, which would be really cool. But obviously not to be. Yeah, I didn't understand why he has like it. Look, I thought they shot him in the head, like, and he has a wound that I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he's not bleeding much from it, so I don't know.
I don't know, but where is Bruce Wayne supposed to have been shot? Because he falls down the stairs and everything. He's obviously been shot and unconscious, but where was he shot then?
No
Looks
idea.
like
Maybe he had like a what's it called, an Alex Rider moment where it like bounced off his skull.
yeah, and his cranium and shit exits through his ear or something, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know what. Anyway, so but anyway, bottom line, he doesn't die, and Riddler's like, yeah, you know, spare him just so he can discover this riddle. So he leaves the riddle next to him, and this is quite cool because you have like the way he decrypts the riddle is quite good because I mean, he's doing Doctor Chase and all this shit, but he's like, the way they actually work out the riddle is really cool because they've got all the riddles next to them and then all the numbers of each riddle, and then like they're trying to work out, okay, is it numbers of the alphabet? He's doing it with Alfred as well, right? Cracking the
Yeah,
code.
in Doctor Chase wasn't there because they kidnapped her, right?
Oh yeah, sorry. So he's doing it with Alfred, and it's like all the numbers. So it's like, okay, no, could it be a word in the alphabet? And then it's like MRE, Mr. E, Mr. Enigma, Mr. E, Riddler, and it's like, oh. And I was like, I don't know why, but I really bought into that. I was like, oh wow, that was really cool. Like, I don't know.
Mr. Edward Nigma, yeah, like, not like your employee that you fobbed off who's also making an identical like crazy machine, you know.
Yeah.
That is also
Um,
I don't know. Anyway,
and they work out as well that, and they just explain away the begin because when the guy, when way back at the beginning when Edward Nigma kills off his boss, he makes it look like one second. Sorry, he makes it look like suicide, right? He's
some
like, you know, and they have that stupid like footage, and they never explain how that footage is done. Like, and I was thinking, I was trying to work out myself, like, how does he do that? And then they just the way they answer that is here. He just goes, oh yeah, and that suicide was obviously CGI, and that's it, like computer generated, and that is all the explanation you need apparently. Um,
don't know why he made that CGI, but you know,
what's the point? I don't know. Like, there's just no. Don't even bother with that. If you're gonna do it like that, don't even bother. But anyway.
this film, man.
There's one really cool fucking bit. Yeah, here. This is like one thing I really didn't expect, but it just looked visually amazing. You have the bat signal in the sky, and
Oh
then you have
yeah,
the Riddler question mark, and I was like, wow, that is
yeah,
fucking
everything
awesome.
glows green in the sky. I like that.
Yeah, I was like, shit, that was cool. Like, I'd never seen that ever done before in anything else. I'd never seen that, so I was like, wow, like that's a really cool concept. Um,
Yeah. Although
anyway,
from that, they're able to locate him. He just doxed himself.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So all for that. Like, I don't know. Anyway,
It was worth
um,
it.
so then Batman goes, well, he's like to Alfred, right? Well, I'm going to go take him down, but all the bat suits have been blown up. Well, time to use the prototype bat suit, which is like this bullshit bat suit, man. It's like so
Total.
stupid.
Yeah.
Um, and not just that, he's putting on the bat suit, and you get like the bat ass as well. You get him like in his bum there posing, and you're like, what the fuck? Like a close up on that. What was the
I
point?
don't know. And all, yeah, one thing I actually realized is like, oh, it's got like a modified sonar in it, but he never uses it or anything. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Anyway,
I don't know, man. So anyway, and then Robin's like, "Yeah, I'm coming as well." I think he had
yeah,
this cringe line. What was it? Do you remember?
I have no idea. He has his suit, doesn't he? But
Yeah, he has
said,
like a okay. And I secretly thought to myself, well, at least he's not wearing the '60s Batman suit anymore. Like, at least he's got his suit looks okay. Actually,
yeah,
I was
it matches this one.
yeah, because it wasn't bright colors, but it was still red and green, so it still kept true to the colors, but it was like very dark colors. So it was like, okay, that was plausible actually. I was kind of like, okay, I buy that. But yeah, and then they like handshake him. I'm like, oh, not as friends as partners or some bullshit, man. It's like Batman accepting Robin, like, oh, okay, all right, whatever. So then, yeah, that's right. Because Batman goes, should I go by sea or by air? Why not both? And then you know which one Robin's going to end up in. It's going to
Yeah,
be
he's
the
always going to take the shittier one,
You're
isn't
the
it?
sucker, man. You're the bitch, man. You're using the fucking bow. Batman's going this fucking Batwing, which, by the way, goes through like the most unnecessary fucking exit route from the Batcave ever. Like,
Yeah, I was wondering how he doesn't crash this on a regular
yeah,
basis.
that's like a video game, like where you're trying to like, you're trying to like try not to nick the edges. That's literally like some fucking impossible to beat video game, man. That's what gave me like flashbacks of, man. Some
Yeah,
shit like that.
couldn't you just have like an opening platform at the top, like Thumbnail
Yeah,
3
like
or something?
why do you need like a fucking wormhole labyrinth to like fucking I don't know, man. There was nothing. It didn't even look that cool. It was just like how the fuck isn't he killed himself yet doing that?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Oh, anyway,
Well, you know what? Don't even have him going out the cave and it just cut to it like flying in the sky like they did with the other one.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then you
So
don't
anyway,
have the question to ask.
yeah, exactly. So then anyway, and then we get to Riddler and Two Face's HQ, and they're playing battleships. This again makes no sense.
Yeah, it's like why don't you just blow them all up? But I don't know. I didn't like hate that bit. I thought it was
Really?
kind of appropriate at least.
I was like, what am I watching now, man? I'm just like, please, let's end this film now, man. Like, I just want this to end as soon as possible. I know it's the climax. I'm like, thank fuck, this is ending. So, okay.
I mean, they do blow up the Batboat. So
They
sad.
blow up the Batboat, yeah, they hit Robin, and then they hit Batman, but in the Batwing, but it goes into the water and then becomes a Bat submarine. And it's
Yeah, it's
like,
like why do you need the Batboat
the
if you've
fuck is
got
the point?
submarines
Yeah,
built to
exactly.
this? And how often does he need to use that? That's the real
Yeah,
question.
like,
Like, who
uh,
designs that? He's like, oh yeah, just in case I'm flying over the wall, and I just need.
uh,
I don't know. Anyway, and he
anyway,
doesn't use
so
it anyway. He just like lets it sink.
yeah, exactly. He rescues Robin basically, and they turn up,
Yeah.
and you get like a holy joke, right? Which is
Yeah,
quite
I
funny.
thought I saw this and I was like, oh, why is he doing that? And it's like, oh, it's a reference. And I did kind of like, oh yeah, the ground's like holy, it's like
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. You got me there. They got me. I was like, okay. I thought you were really gonna do it seriously, and it's like it's just a joke. I'm like, okay, nice one. Um. So anyway, so then Robin takes on Two Face because his whole motivation is he wants to kill Two Face, and Batman takes down the Riddler. Robin like has a fight with Two Face, but then decides not to kill him, and Two Face is like begging him to kill him. He's like, "Oh yeah, please end this misery for me," but he's holding on. It's not Robin's choice. You have the power to let go, and if that's what you want to happen to yourself,
um,
you just
maybe
what?
he's trying to like what's it called? Make Robin think that oh well,
Oh
I
yeah.
have to save him, so he suffers more. Maybe.
Yeah, that's true because that is what happens, right? Because Robin picks him up, or maybe this was like a badly done version of the duality, right? Because maybe it was like the Harvey Dent side going, "Oh, I hate this," I just let it end, and then like,
Yeah,
and
which
then
he
when he does
forgot
get
to do the
rescued, the
whole
Two
film.
Face side comes out and takes the gun to him, right? Maybe it was that, but very badly done.
Maybe because the thing is, they never established that. It's like he's
No,
always just the one
you
side.
just have to kind of
Yeah.
guess, and you're either feeling generous toward this film or you're gonna shit all over it. So if we're being generous, we're saying okay, maybe that's the dual side of Two Face. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'll see it that way. Hopefully.
And Batman, like, he's like in some kind of weird trap where he somehow escapes, and I didn't even try and at this point
Yeah,
I was
he's
like,
going up the ladder, and this like thing's
yeah,
coming down to like knock him down. It's got like
yeah.
spikes on it. But he climbs through, and he like I don't know.
It
He
was at a
somehow
point of
yeah
the film where I'm like, I'm not even going to bother trying to focus on what's going on here. I don't care. I just want it
yeah
to end. I'm
he
like,
uses
okay,
he uses his
what?
like sketches on his boots or whatever to like
Yeah,
break the machine or whatever. Which is
yeah. He becomes Iron Man for 5 minutes. Like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
his
Like,
legs don't snap from the force.
yeah.
But, But
It's like
anyway, so the thing I
I don't
also
know
don't
what's
understand
going
with
on.
this is like, they had the bombs for like the ship, and they also, they shot down the Batwing and whatever, and they also had this. It's like, were they expecting them to get through us, or were they like, oh, we're gonna kill them? But then also we have these two tubes set up because they might have
Oh,
Robin, who they haven't
yeah,
seen once.
yeah. Exactly. You do get one really cool moment. The only cool bit in this whole last 15, 20 minutes of the film is where Batman meets the Riddler and he goes, "Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big bad bat?" It's like the legendary Riddler line, and Jim Carrey delivers it so well. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, that was great. Um,
I like his
and
throat.
yeah, and then they try and like set up this thing, which could have been cool, but I don't know. It just makes no sense because yeah, they get these two tubes. One of them's got Robin in it. One of them's got Doctor Chase in it, right? And you've got to save one. But then he doesn't have to because they try and shoot. Or I don't know. It blows up or something happens,
I mean,
and
he shoots. Yeah, he like buys some time, asking why here's a riddle.
yeah,
It's like
yeah, yeah. Okay, that was cool. He gives a riddle to Riddler, but then the riddle's shit, right?
yeah, but then he like he's using that time to like pull a batarang out,
Yeah,
smash the central thing, which apparently blows up the whole place.
yeah.
Um, and like it makes Riddler's he doesn't kill him, like it
Oh,
makes his head explode with
oh,
intelligence or whatever,
oh,
which was terrible. Like the
oh. It
visual
was
effects in
so,
that.
oh, it was so bad. And I'm pretty sure one of the Oscar nominations for this was Best Visual Effects.
The
Was
best
it
visual
for that?
effects, man.
Was it for the Riddler's fucking death scene slash not death scene because it doesn't
He
kill
didn't
him?
die, yeah.
But like the whatever is going on there, the TV rays going back into his own, like warping his face and shit. Like what the actual fuck, man? And
Man.
anyway, he
Yeah.
could have easily saved these two, even if it was like a joke, because they both go down, and then it's like he saves both of them easily, right?
Yeah, he does a thing. I mean, yeah, they almost hit the floor, but obviously, he won't.
Yeah.
Um,
What a surprise.
I don't know. But the thing is also, which is the most confusing thing at the end of this film, is like he was harping on about not killing what's it called?
Two
I mean, this
Face.
is more unintentional, not killing Two-Face. But then I do
Yeah.
like kind of the way he thwarts him. It's like, oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna use a coin, and then he throws loads of coins to mess him up.
Yeah.
But then it calls him to fall and die, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, what was that all about? Not killing
Yeah. Didn't you?
Two-Face, but
Okay, so we do this. Like, let's do a bit of roleplay. You're Batman and Robin, so
Well, Robin. Now we saved the day. We got rid of Edward Nigma and Harvey Dent.
yeah, yeah, that's true, Batman. But earlier didn't you say something about like I shouldn't kill Two Face, right?
Oh, yeah,
And
about that.
didn't you kind of just killed him, right? Or what was that?
Well, these things just happen on the job, don't they? I mean, in Batman Returns, you see, I kill several people.
Yeah, yeah, but earlier in the film, you were like making this whole point of how it's going to destroy me if I kill Two Face. I shouldn't do it. We shouldn't kill people, and you kind of just directly caused his death, didn't you? There, or like what was the conversation after that? It's just like accepted that it's like okay, Batman like kills Two Face with coins. I mean, yeah, like you say, the actual method was very cool. It's like spinning all these coins, but if it's leading to his death, but I didn't even care at this point. I was just like, well, thank fuck that Tommy Lee Jones Two Face is never to be seen again. That was so bad. I was just glad it was over.
Yeah,
Because the
honestly,
thing
with this
is,
film.
Two Face is a character, is a villain where you have so much potential to explore. It's such an interesting, because he goes from being one of Bruce Wayne and Batman's allies, like Gotham, and he goes from hero to villain. And there's so much to explore in that, and they do such a good job of that in The Dark Knight, for example. But like, they just waste it, man, into like just being, oh well, yeah, we don't have Joker anymore, we don't have Penguin, Jim Carrey's gonna be Riddler, so who have we got left? Two Face. Okay, let's do it then. And just put no effort into his character. Anyway, so yeah, the film's basically over now. We do get a cool bit. We get Arkham Asylum, and
Yeah, first time it appears in live action, I think.
yeah, yeah, it must be. And it was quite cool because it's like, oh, this guy thinks he knows who the Batman is, and you're like, oh shit, and it's like, and then at this moment, this got me because I was like, oh shit, is he going to say Bruce Wayne, and they just label him as an insane,
Yeah,
or
that's what I was
that
wondering too. It just keep
and then
going.
it's like, I'm Batman, and he comes out and he's like wearing the thing, and you're like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
that got me. That got me. I was like, all
Yeah.
right, that's cool.
Also, like one thing I was like also hung up on a bit is like Doctor Chase just knows his identity and he's just chill with that. This random person.
Yeah, because the way she works out his identity, I can't remember what point this happens, but she works out his identity by kissing him, right? And it's like the same kiss she had with Batman, and she realizes, right? And it's just like,
I don't know. I mean, also like the Riddler kind of spelled it out to her as well. So
yeah, exactly. She just, I don't know, man. Um,
I don't know. This film was
and
a bit of a shit show
there's
anyway.
the other
So
thing. This thing just made no sense to me. Um, it's like that when they're outside Arkham and Bruce Wayne is there with Doctor Chase, and he gives her back this like Two-Face doll thing that's like keeps popping up in this film 2 or 3 times, right? And it was so confusing for me because it's meant to be some kind of like witchcraft totem thing, whatever, that's like for dreams. But it also is like half black, half white. This is so clearly like a Two-Face thing, but it's not. So like,
Yeah, that
what's the
was
point?
confusing as fuck.
I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, the film is over except for the final fucking frame of the film, which is the bat signal and then Batman and Robin running either side of it into the camera. Just like, if in case you wanted to like say anything good about this film, we'll just remind you why you shouldn't. And that's it. That is Batman Forever. I mean, we're going to go into ranking it now, and this is going to be very much like, was this worse or Batman 1966? But the thing I fear the most is the fact that the next 2 films we're going to see are even worse. Allegedly, I haven't seen either because we're going to see Batman and Robin, and we're going to see Catwoman. So, I mean, fuck me. This is supposedly better than these 2 films,
This is the
right?
beginning of the descent, man. We're gonna have
Oh
to
man, these next couple of weeks are going to be a fucking slog, man. But anyway, so we're gonna rank these, rank and review each of the elements within these films. So, give me one moment to find the page where I have them all written down.
God, it's gonna be, oh man, the pain and the suffering of this film.
Bear with me. Here it is. Okie dokie. So, Val Kilmer's Batman versus Michael Keaton and Adam West. The current ranking is Michael Keaton number 1 and Adam West number 2. Where do we want to put Val Kilmer's Batman?
Oh, I don't know. That's kind of difficult. I'd probably like his. I don't know. His Batman is like quite good, but you don't. There's at the same time, like the scenes that he's in kind of take it down quite a lot. Because on his own, he's not bad, but I think it's just like he's let down by like the scenarios he's in, the things he has to do, and especially
Yeah.
also like the weird like interactions he has with like Doctor Chase and whatever. Like, fuck man, you can't. I could not put him above Michael Keaton, but I think I would still put him above Adam West.
Yeah. I think that's fair. And I feel bad for Val Kilmer a lot, to be honest, because I think if he was in like a film directed by Burton, he would have been really good. I think he had a lot of potential there that was just, yeah, but just because of what he's asked to do, the lines he has to deliver, and like, I'm sure the bat ass wasn't his idea. I'm sure the bat smile wasn't his idea. I would like to think he was told to do that and goes, you know, Mr. Schumacher, you sure? Are you sure you want me to do that? And like, you do realize how that's going to look on camera, right? It's like, yeah, do it. And like, you sure this is, Batman is like dark character. You gonna really make me do this? Fucking do it. I don't know, man.
He's
So
got
like,
a gun to his children's head or something. Like,
yeah, I feel like Val Kilmer like would have, if he had the choice, would have, done this a lot more seriously if he could. But anyway,
yeah. Well,
keep
Josh
going.
Schumacher apparently would have as well. So it's just Warner Bros. To blame at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, fuck Warner Brothers, man. Anyway, so then Bruce Wayne. So our current rankings are Michael Keaton number 1, Adam West number 2, Bruce Wayne. Where are we going to put Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne?
Again, I'd personally have to say stick him in the middle because he he shows like a lot of potential in this. Like his Bruce Wayne scenes are better than his Batman scenes because I don't think they're ruined as much by sort of like the ridiculousness. Um, like he's very similar, I think, to Michael Keaton, but I think just a little like it's like I can see kind of why some people say this is like almost like the same universe. Like it does have a bit of continuation in that regard because the Batmans and Bruce Waynes are both quite similar. I think they play like they play off like very similarly in their interactions and their mannerisms. They're kind of both quite reserved in that.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, I actually want to put Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne above Michael Keaton's because what we've got to bear in mind is that Michael Keaton is only very narrowly in front of Adam West, right? The only thing that in Batman Returns that we decided where we should put Michael Keaton above Adam West was because of that sort of the dance scene, right? The Shrek's party. So it was like that kind of one of, and for me, I think the stuff Bruce Wayne got to do, Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne got to do in this film was quite good. And when I say that, I think about the scenes in the Batcave where he's interacting with, all right, albeit with Robin and Alfred and shit. But I think,
Yeah.
and
Actually,
like
that's a good
the
point.
beginning when he's in Wayne Tower and stuff, and later on when he's also at that Riddler's party and stuff, I quite liked his Bruce Wayne. I thought it was okay. It seems a bit of a stretch to put him number one, but it's not really the stiffest competition either. And but I would be tempted to put him number one, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, yeah, I have to actually, yeah, it's a good thing you reminded me about like the things that they actually do with this Bruce Wayne go
Yeah,
beyond the others. And it's
he has
like
more to.
kind of,
He gets to do a bit of everything. We see a bit of corporate Bruce Wayne. We see a bit of lover Bruce Wayne. We see a bit of him wanting not to be Batman, etc. I think he gets to do everything and convey it quite well, despite the actual film going on around him.
yeah, the love of Bruce Wayne I could have done without, but
But even so, I think even though the actress was fucking ridiculous, I think what he did in that half of that kind of interaction was quite good. So I'd be tempted to put it number one, actually.
yeah, I think you make a good enough case for it. But
But
yeah, it's yeah, again, like they're all quite close together up there.
yeah, they are. They are.
They'll all
They are
probably be
very
knocked down
closely
later on.
bunched together for sure. Maybe less so will be Robin. Obviously, the only Robin we've had so far is Burt
But
Ward's, and where are we going to put Chris O'Donnell's Robin? A firm fucking number two, I hope, man. Are you
I don't
hesitate?
know. Like I don't dislike him as much as you do personally.
Really?
I thought he was all right in this,
Oh,
apart
he
from
was
that fucking.
horrible, man.
He does make stupid decisions, but I guess this is supposed to be like what people imagine an 18-year-old would do when he finds the
No
Batmobile. He's like,
way.
yeah,
First of all, he was not 18.
yeah,
He wasn't
I know that
even
that is a
25.
massive
He was like
problem.
fucking 30, man. Like, no, he was so bad, man. But Ward's Robin was also like stupid. It was like he was
It
the
was
original.
intentionally almost.
Yeah, and exactly, it was intentional. It was within context. So it was like, okay, he defined what Robin is even today, right? This guy was just like, I hated every line he delivered, every fucking thing he did, his fucking face. Again, Chris Donald, probably a really nice guy. I got nothing against him personally, but I don't want to ever see him in a film again. He was so unconvincing. Why has he got the earring? Why? What is this Robin, man?
I don't know. Personally, I would still put him at second, but I don't think it's like super, super far away, like from Burt Ward. Like,
No, I'm not saying Burt Ward was a great Robin either. Although I would argue as well, is there such thing as a good Robin? Robin's just generally quite a badly portrayed character
yeah,
in
which is
most
why you don't see
films.
them very often.
Yeah, but I'm putting him fucking.
Yeah, but
I
that's
got to
put
put
him at second.
second, man. He was. Oh, I couldn't. If I could delete one thing from this film, there are a lot of things I would do. I would delete Two Face. I would delete Doctor Chase. I would delete fucking. But I would delete Robin first, for sure. So bad. I wish he wasn't in this film, man. Everything he did was terrible. The only purpose he served was to bounce interesting dialogue of Val Kilmer, you know. But anyway, Riddler. We've got our first Riddler ranking. So we have number one, Frank Gorshin. Where are we going to put Jim Carrey's Riddler?
Fucking way below, man. I mean, not
Really?
like super way below, but I don't like him as much as the classic one.
Ah, no way, man. I really like Jim Carrey's Riddler. I'm not saying he's better because I think they're both good. This is the thing. I come from a position where I like both of these Riddlers. I like both of them. But so you want to put?
I think like this Riddler, like the fact they casted Jim Carrey into it must have like if it feels like it almost influenced the writing of this film into being like
Oh,
they
for
have to
sure.
lean into like it's like it has to be able to have fit Jim Carrey in it as
I
Riddler,
agree.
which makes the
But
film even more ridiculous than it was originally going to be. And I don't know.
that's a good point.
I feel like he kind of I don't know, like it shows like he does show that he's able to be a little bit menacing sometimes, and he's also able to kind of tone it down a bit, like when he's in the suit. Um, but the thing is, he's over the top way too much, and it's like I know you're Jim Carrey and everyone has seen your films, but you know, you don't have to do the same thing every single time, which is what I don't
But
like about this.
I want to throw this at you. Have you ever seen Jim Carrey portray a villain? You know,
Not
this
really.
is Jim Carrey's a villain,
Well, it
and
doesn't
for
really
that
make it like
reason, this is
better.
what makes this performance unique. Okay, yeah, it is still Jim Carrey as the Riddler, but this is the first time you're seeing Jim Carrey actually having to portray someone who, wants to basically, cause harm to people, right? Every other Jim Carrey character is like funny, like, bumbling kind of guy, right? Whereas this is like he has to be a villain. So I think in that sense, he had to really make a point of showing the insanity and the actual motivation, the villainous motivation, which he does a very convincing job of, I thought.
Yeah, he shows the insanity, but he also shows it almost like a stupidity as well. Like
Yeah,
in sort of like he's like I know it's like what's it called? This is like an over the top film, but he's over the top way too much.
that's
Like
Jim Carrey.
I know it's Jim Carrey, but it doesn't make it an excuse. Like
Okay,
it should have been someone else, I think.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you putting him below Frank Gorshin, but I want to say to the fucking viewers and listeners, I like Jim Carrey's Riddler, and I'm not putting him second because I don't like him. I'm putting him because I also have a lot of respect for Frank Gorshin's Riddler as well, and I think they're both very good.
Yeah. Well. Well, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Alfred and Gordon, still, we're not moving them at all, are
Yeah,
we?
they're not
Fuck
moving
them,
anywhere.
man. I spit on them every interval we get the
I mean,
chance.
yeah,
So.
with Alfred at least I had to say like he's okay when he's not being used for comedy. That's it.
Uh,
Like
and
there
when
was
does
this
that
like
happen?
funny line where he was like, "Oh
It
yeah,"
never happens.
it's like, "Oh yeah, they'll maybe they'll take me back at Buckingham Palace." But I mean, especially opening this film with the fucking drive-through line, it's like,
Oh man, no, it's so bad. I don't even want to dwell on these guys, man. We've already done them stuff. Fuck them, man. The Batmobile. So current rankings, we have the 1989 Batmobile number one, 1966 Batmobile number two, and I'd like
this
to
one
think
at a firm number
this
3.
is unanimous number three. No debate there. Again, I quite like the Batmobile in a way.
The
I
shape,
kind of
but not like the lights and everything and the fin.
Yeah, take away the lights and the middle fin, and I think you got something going there. But obviously, they're just trying to sell fucking toys and shit, man.
Yeah, we've been over that.
It's the
The Hot
product you
Wheels,
get.
the Hot Wheels Batmobile. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. Batsuit. Where are we going to rank this batsuit? I quite liked this batsuit. I think this would, for me, would go number one.
Number 1 with the bat nipples.
Oh yeah. So you put it number two.
Below Michael Keaton's, yeah.
Man, you know what? Is that the only reason though? Because of the back nipples.
Yeah, basically. I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
you're right, man. It's just so stupid. I don't know. Like, it's such a shame. It's such a letdown. Because other than that, this batsuit is pretty good. But yeah, you can't ignore that. So yeah, you're right.
I
It has
don't
to
know.
go number
To
two.
me, like it's not. I think the cowl is fantastic, but the
Yeah,
rest of it's like all right. But to me, it's like there's the
yeah.
back nipples, and also it looks like extremely rubbery. Like you can like. I know that's kind of somewhat the point with the bat suit, but it's also meant to be kind of armor for him as well. That's why he survives bullet wounds.
Yeah, but I thought he looked less
Uh,
rubbery than the Batman Returns one. Did he not?
uh,
Oh, okay.
looks more
Well,
rubbery.
anyway, I think I can settle on it being number two. I mean, I'm not particularly passionate about either of them, so yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, true. We'll get better ones in the future.
Oh yeah, for sure. Theme song.
God, the music in this fucking sucked. I gotta say,
Yeah, man.
there's nothing that stand out that will stand
Yeah,
out apart from
it
that.
wasn't memorable to me at all.
Sometimes I'd notice like something that I was playing. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like if anyone has seen this or is planning on seeing this, to those people, good luck. But there's the bit that scene where he walks in and first meets Edward Nigma. They're playing some weird fucking like I don't
Mm.
even know what
Yeah, you even mentioned
electronic
it before.
instrument it
Yeah.
is. Like I don't know. I'd have to go back to it, but it's weird, man. And there's no like I think there is some sort of theme they play like for Batman, but it's like
Yeah.
really confusing. I was like, it's like not similar to anything we've had before
It
either.
doesn't stay with you, and I think for that reason, it's obviously going to go number three, right? Because this is against the best fucking soundtrack of all time in any film, let alone Batman, the Batman 1989 theme, and then you've
The
got the
classic one.
classic Batman 60s.
Yeah, you might not even like the classic one, but at least you can remember what it was.
Oh yeah, man, it's brilliant. So yeah, this is definitely going number three. Uh, the love interest. This is going number three as well.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, actually,
Instantly.
hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
Is it the Vicky Vale Batcave thing?
No, because we've got three, right? We've got which order we did it? Which order did we put? Kim Basinger,
there was
Vicky Vale, and
we put
Catwoman.
Kit
Which
Kat at
did
the
we put
bottom.
first?
But Kit Kat at the bottom, then Vicky Vale, and I think Catwoman.
Catwoman was number one.
I believe so.
So, the question: do we put Dr. Chase above or below Kit Kat?
You know, I would actually say below, even because at least Kit Kat actually had some plot relevancy in this.
Yeah.
In the 66 film. As bad as it was, you know, as many plot holes as there were in it, it was at least relevant and it had like some point to being in the film. Whereas here it's like they copy pasted in someone who looked a bit like Vicky Vale.
It was so bad. And at least with Kit Kat, that character had some dignity during the film. You know? I think if we're going to really break it down, like, well, I actually would agree with you. I would put Dr. Chase fucking fourth, man, because, like, there wasn't a single, I can't remember a single line or anything she did, which I was like, that was good or interesting or cool. It was just a bit of eye candy. That was it. That's the only purpose she served in this film, man. Now, the most Sigma moment.
I remember a particular moment for a Sigma moment, but I want to hear what yours is first.
No, go on, tell me.
All right. Well, there's that conversation which he has with her, right? As Batman the first time, where she like basically uses his as he says, like he uses the bat signal as a beeper rather than an emergency call. After that conversation, I don't know. I remember like he gets in the Batmobile and he just says "women," and then just.
Oh yeah.
Don't know why. That was just so out of the blue, and it's just.
That was so funny. That was like the only bit of comedy in this film that really worked, aside from Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
That was the only one-liner with women. I was like, what? Okay, yeah, it really threw me off. I forgot about that moment. Yeah, that did get a genuine laugh out of me. Is that really Sigma line though? Or we?
It like low key is, but also like what else is there in
But
this
yeah,
film?
other than that, well, my mind leaps to Jim Carrey stealing his girl, but that's more Alpha than Sigma, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, no, I see that the women one is Sigma because like
Yeah, you're right.
he's almost like he's done with it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Which
Because
he
Val
is.
Kilmer, he's quite a Sigma Bruce Wayne. Well, in a way, I don't know, but actually, no, he's not really, is he?
Yeah, he's a simple lot. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Women. I'm good with that. And
But
where
I
do we
don't know how
rank
that
it
goes up
against?
against the others. Like.
Okay. So what's the order? So number one is Jack Nicholson.
I didn't
I
ask.
didn't ask. Number two is
Michael Keaton said
it
something.
was Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like actually it very much is that way.
Yeah. And then number three is Bruce Wayne capitalist. So where are we putting women? I think
I don't
fourth.
know. It might be at the bottom or
Yeah.
above, like Adam West's one. I can't really tell because it is just a throwaway line
Yeah,
because
it
the
is.
film
I
is
think
so
it's a
absolutely
punchline for a
sick
joke.
moments.
I think I'm putting it fourth, unless you're particularly against it.
No, I'm not like very invested in it. It was like mildly amusing, but
Yeah, I agree.
it's like the lowest hanging fruit of Sigma moments.
Yeah. Okay, so then all that remains us to do is rank this film. So our current rankings so far, we have Batman 1989 a 8.7 rating. We have Batman Returns at a 7 rating, and we have Batman 66 at a 6.6 rating. So what are we going to rank Batman Forever?
See, I want to put this at 0, but I have to keep in mind. No, I don't actually want to put a 0. I'm exaggerating, but I have to keep in mind we've got Batman Forever and Catwoman coming up. So I
You
would
think
give
Batman and
this.
Robin? We're
Yeah.
talking about Batman Forever.
Oh yeah, I'm actually having a stroke from this film.
It's the
Uh,
like I'm so dreading watching that film. You have no idea, and even more so Catwoman. I'm
I hope
so
the
like,
Catwoman film's good because I actually forgot it existed.
oh man, I'm
Anyway,
so dreading it. But anyway,
I would probably give this
what do you give this out of 10?
a 4.1 because this is like when it's below like a 6 I would never see it again like
Mhm.
or but this has like I don't put it lower because it has like some of those good elements in it like I know you don't like it, but I liked the like interaction between Batman and Robin. I mean, even if it wasn't, perfect in a lot of things, like he goes joyriding in the Batmobile or something, what the fuck. But
Mhm.
yeah, you've also got the question of, is he going to throw in the towel? Is he done with being Batman? Like, what sort of stress or
Mhm.
like toll is this having on him?
Mhm.
Um, I
I
don't know.
mean,
That's just
I
about
want to
as
talk
much
about
I
the
can
good
say.
things from this film. Like, what are the good? Because there's so much shit we can talk about. But what are we gonna do to like give this a rating? Like, because my take-home bits, yeah, moments like that, yeah, Val Kilmer's Batman, like what he tries to do in the moments when he's allowed to, are good. And I like Jim Carrey's Riddler. I like more specifically. I like Jim Carrey's origin story as Edward Nigma. That's something we never got to talk about. His little base as well, his little HQ. Remember?
Yeah, his little
We never got to
HQ
talk
is
about.
all right, which is kind of funny. Him going through the what name should I have? Question mark.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's got that big like Riddler like arcade machine thing there. And it's like I thought his hideout was so cool. I'm so glad I remembered
I
to
did
talk.
like that,
That's really
and also
great.
his riddles that he sends around. Those are kind of nice.
All the Riddler
Uh,
tropes, the fucking the cane, the bowl hat. Unfortunately, this would have I think this would have rescued the film a lot more in Jim Carrey's Riddler if they just made him wear a suit instead of going back to the spandex shit. Make him wear the Riddler suit, like with the tie and everything, and the
yeah,
bowl
that
hat.
would have helped a
That
lot.
would have been really way much better. I don't know why they went with the whole Ziggy Stardust look with this fucking I don't know. He has like GTA haircuts in this film as well because he has long hair and then he has short orange hair and then he
Yeah,
has like
that did make me question. It's like, how did he get
yeah,
rid of that dye so fast?
he has GTA haircuts in this film because he has this short Ziggy Stardust hair and then in the next scene he's like tuxedo Jim Carrey with like kind of long hair again and it's like what's going on? And then it goes back to orange again later on. It's like what's
No
going on?
idea. I don't know. I want to find his barber man. That guy can do some magic.
It's the GTA barbers, man. I'm telling you. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got the yeah. It's mainly for me like the yeah the it's mainly Val Kilmer that kind of helps lift
yeah.
this film up in this case. Um,
The rest is just appalling, though.
I don't know what you would give it because I think
I think 4.1 is a bit harsh. I want to give it a little bit more.
really
Yeah, I'm thinking more in the 5 territory.
five territory for this
Mm, oh, I don't know, man.
because I don't think there's enough good stuff in this film to justify that.
But I'm thinking we're giving this a rate, but I think I don't know. I really hate going into films being prejudiced, right? But with these films, it's really hard not to. And I think we
This is
need
my
to
honest
reserve some
opinion. So
space for giving an even worse rating to an even worse film. If we blow all our beans on this one and we go, okay, we're giving this the worst rating we can film, we're not going to leave much space to diss all the other the next films we're reviewing.
no, I mean
So,
we've got the threes and the twos and even the ones on this.
yeah. All right, I want to give it a bit closer to 5 then. You've saying 4.1. I want to meet you in the middle. I will go like 4.6 or 7.
Call it 4.5, I think.
4.5. All right, I'll go with that. 4.5. Batman Forever.
4.5 out of 10. Please, if you watch this, make sure you've got like the Samaritans on speed dial. You know,
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't think this film was that. I mean, it was bad. But you know what? My thing with this film. Oh yeah, I will for sure never watch it again, or ever suggest to anyone else to ever watch it again. If you have seen it, then hopefully you've at least like
yeah, get a
dedicated some time.
therapist and so on.
Yeah, and you've listened to this podcast at least. So at least we're sharing we're sharing your pain. If you watch this,
Showing my
well,
trauma.
this is therapy. This is group therapy right now. Okay.
Yeah. Have
So
group therapy in the comments.
yeah. But what I can say of this film, it was entertaining. I wasn't bored watching it. I was like, okay, like I didn't feel the 2 hours so much. I was like, okay, yeah, this is happening. Okay, it was like it gave me some visual stimulants going along. Like one way or another. But man, the real shit in this film, Robin, Two Face, Doctor Chase, all terrible. So yeah. So that's it. Do we have any parting thoughts or comments, or are we gonna
I'm scared for what
seal
comes,
this off and never
for
talk
what is
again?
coming. That's all I gotta say.
Next week, yeah, we're going to be reviewing Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. I We'll have to wait and see. But until then, thank you very much, everyone, for watching and listening. Please follow us on the links that you'll find in the description, on Twitter, on Instagram. If you're more of a Twitter guy, you can follow me at Millionth James. If you're more of an Instagram guy, you can follow Henry at Millionth Henry. Obviously, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, leave us some nice comments and likes and 5 stars and all that good stuff. Share it with your friends, anyone else that likes Batman or that hates this film and also wants to listen to other people shitting on it, then you know where to point them. So,
and you can check out some of the better Batman films that came previously.
Absolutely, and our thoughts on them. So thank you very much for watching and listening. Thank you for making it this far through this film. Well, I mean, I can't say it will get better than this because but it will get worse and then it will get really good. So this is what we live for, right? The good time. So Batman and Robin next week, same bat time, same bat channel.